Canada. Put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey man, call your mother.
It means nothing. It means nothing.
Nah, they lying to you. It's about the money.
Now you're more fluent.
So part of the problem is I can't see anything. I quite literally was on my phone and I had my reading glasses on because I'm old. And the problem is when I take them off, like if I don't use them, I'm okay. The second I use them, I can't see anything anymore.
Can you see anything, Toe?
Not funny.
You see anything, Toe?
And then we had technical issues, and now people are like, "What the hell?"
We back in effect.
We saw the intro and the outro, and then the live was over.
That's it.
Quite
hello, goodbye.
Everything blew up. Like you guys can't see this because you're on that side. In the top right corner of StreamYard, there's like all the stuff, right? Like our YouTube accounts, our LinkedIn, Facebook, X, and they literally all went boom, like your car with the warning lights started blinking. And it was like, this isn't working. Man,
what up, guys? What's going on? Y'all know what it is. That's Tony Tone right there. That's him. Chill. That's me. What's up, guys? But before we get started, my man Tone had something that was on his mind because
no.
Straighten me out.
On my mind?
Straighten me out because
I went to take your chain because you forgot.
Yeah, I had my chain out.
I'm like Debo.
I was getting it together. My chain was kind of blinging a little bit. Now, you know, I ain't the floss.
I said, give me that chain, and we started talking about Friday. And I said it's interesting because once upon a time I could probably do the whole movie for you word for word. Yep. Now if I'm watching it, I know word for word, like I can't just off memory. And I said, and I can remember the first time I saw it, I was in University of West Virginia, and my roommate said, yo, Friday just came out. I got it. I go, what do you mean you got it? He has like a VHS tape. He's like, I got it.
Like a bootleg, Tone?
Yeah. Yeah.
What the hell?
Let me tell you how this was the worst. So we're like, all right, let's watch it. It is so poorly, like it's grainy, it's faded. And you know it was a really bad bootleg because at one point in the movie, a guy gets up to go to the bathroom.
You can see people walking through. So on a scale from 1 to 10, Tone, it looks like we're in the movies, and 1 is like, there's no way. Like, oh,
imagine it looked like you were sitting in the movies with sunglasses on. Like that's the quality of film. And then a guy gets up and walks in, like you could hear them talking sometimes in the background. It was great when, you know, fun, like sometimes there's a couple funny parts where like they were so loud you couldn't hear the next line.
Right.
Yeah, we watched it so like over and over again. We all just kind of had fun with the dude getting up and walking out and coming back.
The dope thing is last Friday is coming out. The production has already started. So last Friday is coming out. Ice Cube has already got the cast together. Mike Epps is going to be in it again.
He didn't call me.
He did not call you. He didn't call me neither, unfortunately. But that's what's up with that. But he's gonna have a cast of characters, old school dudes and new school dudes, new school comedians. It's going to be the last rendition of Friday. So I'm looking forward to that. I don't know when it's coming out, but I'm looking forward to that. If you didn't go see Friday, you were not in the know. There's no way you went. There's no way Friday was coming out and you were in any urban part of the world and you did not go see Friday. How do you not do that? How?
The two biggest things that happened that year, I remember, was we got Friday.
Yeah.
And the entire part of the school cheered insanely when OJ was not guilty. Like you could hear it from my dorm. If you open the window, you could hear other dorms cheering. And I'm like, I've never seen so many people happy that a murderer
got off, right? Wow. It's crazy, right? It's incredible that happened.
And like looking back, it's easy to say that, but at the time it was a big deal. Ice Cube, listen, since you didn't invite me to be in last Friday, I'll say, let's be honest, it's the last Friday. It's the last money grab for that franchise. So good for you.
I think it's going to work too. I do.
How long did it take from that movie until we got Bye Felicia? As like we all knew it, but like the kids like I heard a kid say, and I'm like, I go, Friday? How do you know that movie? And they're like, what movie? And they said, what movie?
Right. They had no idea what Bye Felicia means.
And they said, what do you mean Friday? It's Bye Felicia. And I'm like, yeah, where do you think that comes from? And I got into a fight with the kid. I'm like, no, we just made it up. I'm like, no, you didn't.
No, you didn't. You did not make this up. No, you did. No way did you make that up. I just seen it on in fact, on TikTok, on Instagram, and like right before I met you, Tone, like it became a big deal. Like, Bye Felicia.
Yeah, it just popped up again.
Like, what's going on? Did y'all dudes think y'all just made this up? No, this has been a thing.
Nothing's original.
It came from the movie where Felicia is a crackhead and she's in the hood. Your local crackhead chick in the hood, and she says to Cube, who was Craig in the movie, and she says to Craig, "Can I borrow your VCR?" And Craig goes, "Bye, Felicia."
Bye, Felicia. And his face was perfect for that too, because I can't even do it. He's so like, "Bye, Felicia."
Bye, Felicia. Fuck out of here.
Oh, good Lord. Oh man. I wonder where Miss Parker is. She must be like 90 by now.
Nah, Miss Parker probably gone. No doubt about that.
I was still looking in them shorts.
What up, Tony Tone? What's good with you, brother?
I don't even want to talk about. I had a horrible weekend. I want to move on. I want to look forward to this week. Have you noticed something, by the way?
Have I noticed something with you?
Where I am.
Yeah, I noticed that you're home. I do notice that.
And where was I supposed to be?
You were supposed to be on the road in Canada again.
Up north in a place
Nova Scotia again.
Oh, Timmins. It's northern Ontario. 35 centimeters of snow tomorrow. Well, starting today and into tomorrow. And they're like, yeah, you guys aren't going, because if you go, you're not going to come back. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to see my man Jay in a couple of days. I ain't. And they're like, yeah, no, don't worry, don't go there. You guys will die. So that's not a thing anymore. So I'm home, which is excellent, because tomorrow, as you know, but they don't know, is your niece and nephew's birthday. So I was away for their birthday, and now I'm going to be home. So, I believe this is what does the confetti. I think. Come on, do it. There we go. Happy birthday to the Twins. Happy birthday to the Fluent Tomorrow, yes.
What are we at? What are we at? 10 Tone? 11?
11.
Okay, 11 years. All right, 11 years today.
Too many. They're growing too fast.
Tone, I'm trying to tell you, B. By the time, before you know it, Tone, she's gonna be getting married. This dude gonna be graduating high school. Hey, Tone, it comes as quick as quick as you remember being in the hospital and them handing you the 2 bundles. It goes from that to we at graduation. I'm at my daughter's graduation in college, and I'm saying to her mother, did I not just take you to the hospital last night? Wasn't we just there? What are we doing here? How did we get here so fast? I'm 100% confident we was just in the hospital last night. I'm sure we were just there.
I'm not ready for that, but we do have a bunch of stuff to go over. We're going to start with headlines.
Shut your damn mouth.
Yeah.
Which you would think that my boy over here, considering that he's had a quote unquote horrible weekend, there's some things going on in pro basketball that, pick my man's spirits. So
yeah. Well, the first one isn't one of them. But more importantly, check out the setup for headlines. Come on, man.
Yes, sir.
Next week, expect even more. But I digress. Actually, no, not next week, because next week we're going to do a surprise episode. All right, so we're starting off with our headlines. Dallas down.
Well,
not Houston, but Dallas. We have a problem.
Well,
everybody hurt.
I understand the outrage of people. Even you, Tone. I mean, we had this conversation. There's do's and don'ts. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, you know, Q-Tip told us industry rule number 4080, record company people are shady. Well, industry rule number 4081, don't trade Luka. So
you think this is bad juju?
On the one hand, Tone, I really like this roster, man. I do. I like what they're putting together. I think Irv is going to be back next season. 9 months from today is December the 4th. Irv's not going to be out for the entire season. I'm not buying that. We'll be a little over 2 months into the season. I think
with the ACL, he's going to be back.
Yes, I think he's going to be back. I don't think he's. We're talking about 9-10 months. I think Irv is going to be back next season. So with Irv in the fold, PJ Washington back, Klay Thompson. Let's see, Anthony Davis, Lively,
Gafford,
Najee Marshall, this kid Max Christie, who's a damn good defender. I love the energy. Tone, I like this roster, and you and I had this conversation before that I think this is a 3-year plan. I don't think this is something that's a 5-6 year. I think this is a 3-year plan. Irv might have set us back a little bit because of his injury, and it might be a little bit longer than 3 years, but I think that's the window. I think the window is 3 years. But with that being said, I really like the way that this roster is put together. If this team is healthy, come this time next year, and we're going into the playoffs, and everybody is available, I really like their chances. On the other hand, Tone, I'm thinking to myself, and I said this earlier, that in the early 1900s, Babe Ruth is playing for the Red Sox. And for anybody who knows, Babe Ruth, you can find him at the after-hours spot. You know, Babe Ruth was turning him back on a regular. He was getting into car accidents. You know, you was finding Babe Ruth in spots that he probably shouldn't have been in. The Red Sox had it, Tone. The Red Sox had it, and they was like, you know what? They're out. And they end up trading them to the Yankees for a bucket of extra crispy and a 6-pack. The Yankees go on 100%. The Yankees go on to win 27 World Series. The Red Sox don't win the World Series again for 86 years. So I'm thinking to myself, is this the curse of the Bambino?
Are you equating Babe Ruth to Luka Doncic?
You know why, Tone? Because number one,
they both like to drink beer.
This is a 25-year-old first-team All-Pro, top 5 player in the game. Been to the NBA Finals, been to the Western Conference Championship twice in the last 3 years. They're building something. You come off of that. You come off of that because of what the narrative is. Luka is fat. Luka is out of shape. Luka doesn't take care of his body. Luka just shows up. You know what? We're not going to win with Luka. He doesn't play defense. And you're basically trashing his name, which is kind of what the Red Sox did with the Bambino when they shipped him off. And ultimately what it did was it became the curse of the Bambino, where he goes to the Yankees, and now this guy is just the greatest Yankee ever, and the Red Sox are at the door and consistently banging on the door, and they never get in. Never get in. So I'm thinking to myself, is this the curse of the Bambino, or am I overreacting here? I think I might be overreacting, Tone. I don't think it's that bad.
I'll only say like this. I believe in conspiracies.
Oh, 100%. I know that about you.
So but I don't believe in curses. So I don't think this is a curse so much as it's a conspiracy.
What's the difference, Tone?
I'll tell you. A curse is some supernatural nonsense that occurs that's unexplainable. Whereas this is NBA viewership was down. We needed to pick them up. Luka goes to the Lakers. The face of the league, because we haven't found one, is back.
LeBron James.
He's in the MVP conversation. We're going to talk about that later, as you can see by the headlines. The Lakers go on a historic run, win a championship. Hello. And how do we do it? Well, the team that they traded him to or from, well, we can't have them healthy because their roster actually looks pretty damn good. So we just go shelve all of those dudes. And guess what they're going to do? Oh, they're going to raise their ticket prices 8%. And next year, everyone's going to come back healthy. They're going to be happy for Luka and LeBron and everybody in LA. And Dallas is good. And I think they actually get either Kyrie makes a miraculous comeback, or they get a new point guard, and all of a sudden, the Dallas Mavericks are a team to be reckoned with, and we start a Dallas LA little feud for that 2-year window that we have.
The Dallas LA feud. So this would be box office, considering this would be box office.
Yeah, so I'm gonna keep using all my.
You just made the list.
Wrestling stuff. Yes.
This would be box office, considering how this trade went down, how unorthodox it was, how ridiculous it was at the time for people to think that this could happen. But then,
because Luka's now mad at Dallas. I guarantee you, Rob Pelinka and Nico Harris will have. There's going to something will come out. So there's going to be what we haven't had in a long time: a rivalry.
A rivalry.
And so what? Every time something bad happens or something happens, what do I tell you is the easiest way to find out why? Do you remember? I don't know if you remember what I told you.
I don't remember. No, I don't.
Always the first thing any good detective or investigator does: follow the money.
Of course.
We need to make more money. We know that a face of the league and a good rivalry are the ways to do it. Boom. Here's one.
I'm just thinking, Tom, and that does make sense.
Overthinking.
No, I'm not overthinking this. What I'm trying to make sense of is this roster being as good as I think it can be. And if they're healthy, like just this season, Irv doesn't tear up his knee. Anthony Davis is available. Clay is available. Marshall's available. Lively. All of these guys are available. I love Dallas in the Western Conference. 100%. I don't like them in the Western Conference. I love them in the Western Conference.
That's why they need to shelve them, because I'm already getting people in my comments section saying, because of course I'm with Lakers in 5, Lakers in 6, and they're like, only because you don't have to go through the Mavs. They're already starting that narrative, and much like the guys in the chat are talking right now about John Cena becoming a bad guy, turning heel. Well, what better heel turn than goody day-to-day Davis becoming the bad guy in Dallas?
Can we be looking at
I'm telling you, they couldn't have written the script any better.
I was just thinking that, Tone. Can we be looking at a possibility where the Lakers end up kind of like what happened with San Antonio in 98? San Antonio wins the NBA championship in 99. In 2000, Tim Duncan gets hurt. And the logic is, well, Tim Duncan, the reason why the Lakers won it in 2000, because Duncan was hurt. 2001, let's settle this. Well, the Lakers end up smoking them in 2001 and 2002. But then the Spurs come back in 2003 and end the dynasty. So can I be looking at a situation, because again, I think this is a 3-year plan, Tone. I don't think this is something that happens in 1 year. I think this is a 3-year plan. So can I be looking at a situation where Nico Harrison is looking at this going, okay, I can't look like the complete idiot in this whole thing. I can't. No, I put together a damn good roster. This thing has to work out. And what cures everything, Tony, in professional sports?
Winning.
We don't care about none of that other stuff. We don't.
A bunch of people who hate each other start winning, they're best of friends.
100%. We can get to the bottom of all of that other stuff when we start winning. So if the Mavs within the next calendar year, within the next 365 days, if they're at the top of the Western Conference or a top 4 seed, and the Lakers, to your point, because again, I think this is a 36-month plan with James. So now we have ourselves in a situation where the Mavs and the Lakers find themselves in the Western Conference Championship.
Book it. Speaking of,
is that box office?
Of course it is. Speaking of my Lakers.
Yep.
They've managed to climb themselves into second place in the Western Conference. Now, later on in the show, we're going to go through if it ended today, the matchups.
Wait for this. This is going to be fantastic.
We're going to go through the matchups.
I'm going to love this, by the way.
So, but right now, the Lakers, who were an afterthought, like they were an afterthought. It was like, yeah, okay, it's just we're playing out LeBron's last days. They're not this, they're not that. Oh, they can't play defense. Oh, they just traded away their 2 best defenders They can't play defense, and they traded away their 2 best defenders.
This is a disaster.
And now they look like a really good defensive team. And, they're winning.
So what I wanted to ask you, Tone, is did you know that exactly 77 days ago today, the Lakers were in 10th place in the Western Conference?
I wouldn't have known exactly 77 days ago. I'd have said, yeah, around 2 months ago, but sure.
Which is also a coincidence because Luka wears number what?
Number 7. That's why it's relevant. Damn.
Can you imagine that? Here we have a team, which is why I'm having a difficult time with this, and we're going to talk about this also with this JJ Redick stuff. So 2 months ago, a little over 2 months ago, this team was the last play-in team. We go from that to now they're in second place. Well, how did we get here, Tone? We got here with Anthony Davis being traded. This team is now a better team defensively. And why are they a better team defensively? Because now I don't have that big guy to rely on me to clean up my messes. We have to rely more on on ourselves. I got to play more individual defense.
Right.
And then we can help each other out. The first part, I've always learned this ever since I was a kid. The first part of being on the team is doing your job. Tone, I can't help you do your job until I do my job. So with that being said, I got to play defense. Austin Reeves has to stay in front of people. James has to stay in front of guys, right? Gabe Vincent, all of these guys have to stay in front of people. Once we do that and the shot goes up, then we gang rebound. We're so reliant on Anthony Davis that he gets all the rebounds. He blocks all the shots. He's the guy manning the paint. He's the guy cleaning up our messes. Well, I don't have that. So now we have to be more reliant on each other. Then we have to be more reliant on ourselves, then relying on each other. And that's how we become better. James, for all intents and purposes, Tone, and I think I've mentioned this to you before, Tone, he looks like the old dude that met a young chick, and there's a lot more energy with him now. Like I can see a little bit of bounce in him.
He like Belichick going to coach college.
Yeah, walking a little bit fast. He got the comb over going. It's like, what's going on with this dude? I see a little bit more bounce in him. That's why I'm saying, Tone.
Is that what he was taking on the sideline? Those pills, they were Viagra. Is that he was getting Savannah? Everyone thought it was PEDs. No, it was just Viagra. He's like Savannah. To be honest with you,
I don't know, Tone. He's got this renewed energy. I see him on defense. He looks like what he looked like when he was making an all-league defensive team. That effort is there. Now, the question is can he stay consistent? Because I asked the question in the past, Tone, and maybe
not just him, because we're talking about defense, because it's a lot of effort. It's a lot of work to do that.
Especially at that age.
Can they keep up that defensive intensity night in and night out?
I'm glad you brought that up, Tone, because I was thinking this when the Warriors ended up bagging Jimmy Butler. The question that was asked was, okay, we get to the playoffs and we end up in, I don't know, let's say the 5 or the 6 seed. Can Steph Curry turn back the clock for 6 weeks and turn into 21 or 22 Steph Curry? Can I get one of those all-time great series from Jimmy Butler? Can I do that? Well, the same logic is going on, what I feel like, with the Lakers, where can James turn back the clock once the playoffs start? Am I getting too much from him right now and he's going to run out of gas? Does he need to turn it down? And can I get him, once the playoffs start, can I get 6 weeks of 15 or 8, not 18. 18 is ridiculous. Can I get 6 weeks of 20 James?
Right.
Can I get that guy? And I don't mean the rest of the season, Tone. I'm just meaning, can I get a month and a half of that guy? I know Luka can take over a series. I know that for a fact. I've seen him do that, right? Can I get 6 weeks of James giving me all-time great, playing elite defense, being the elite overall offensive player that he is? Can I get that from him? Because remember, Tone, and I'm really interested to hear your thoughts on this, but remember, more times than not, when you get into a playoff series, your boys particularly, you're either going to have 1, the best player in the series, 2, the second best player in the series, or 3, the 2 best players in the series. If you have that, I mean, if we're
Well,
being honest, Tone,
we're gonna talk about the playoff matchups. We're going to talk about them. We're going to talk.
We are. We 100% are. But the question that I'm asking, because again, like you talked about with James turning into what he's turning into. I mean, who doesn't like that? Who doesn't?
Oh, well, there is a group of people who absolutely hate it.
Of course they do. Of course they do.
and sometimes people mistakenly put me in that category. Let's be very, 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 very clear. I want James to be 2013 James and sweep through the playoffs and bring my Lakers a championship. I don't care what it means for who I think is the GOAT, because I've said this a million times. Neither Jordan, people don't understand this, because I defend Jordan. Let me take a little sidebar rant. I defend Jordan not because I'm a fan of Jordan. Jordan isn't in my top 10 of favorite players. I defend Jordan because I get more nonsense dropped into my inbox about who he was and who that era was. And it's literally 1,000 to 1 where it's LeBron is this because of this. And then there's 1,000 of those. And then Jordan, Kobe, Shaq, Kareem, all of them combined, it's 1,000 to 1. Like and then people are like, why do you talk about LeBron so much? I'm like, because you all are insane. Like I
can tell you guys right now, Tone, I can tell you guys right now, for those of you who don't know, I know this is my guy right here. And Tone might be a fan of somebody, but he is intolerable of nonsense. Can't handle it.
Zero.
He can't handle bullshit.
Supersedes it because everyone's like, you're such a Jordan fan. I'm like, I'm not. Neither. So we're clear. Jordan and LeBron, neither one is in my top 10 of favorite players. No. And if I actually had to make a list that went that far, which I never have, LeBron would be higher up than Jordan, only because LeBron plays for the Lakers. So there's a 7 or 8 year stretch where I'm a fan and I want him to win because he's a Laker. I want him. That's why I'm mad that he only won one. I'm mad that he only won one in LA.
For those of y'all that don't know, Tone actually hated Jordan growing up.
I hated him, especially in 91. Guys, in 91, or 92, I guess 91, 92, I accused him of having something to do with Magic getting AIDS.
This was your fault. You the reason why he ain't playing no more.
I quite literally said he paid someone to give him a blood, like, oh, let me take your blood. Like that, because he knew. Magic still had a few prime years left. And he had a young team in Eldon Campbell. Worthy was obviously a little bit older, but he was still good. Byron Scott, Vlade Divac was a rookie. I think like they had a good young team, and it was the Lakers. You knew they were going to get somebody else. You knew they were going to get him another superstar. But okay, off on my rant, back to what we're talking about.
The Lakers are second in the Western Conference right now.
What? Yes. So I can't believe it. And it's changed the MVP ladder. Nikola Jokic is back at number 1. SGA has dropped to number 2.
Which is nuts.
Is it Giannis or Tatum at 3? I don't even remember. Somebody with the green uniform.
It is Giannis.
It's Giannis. Tatum at 4. And
James at 5.
Who?
James at 5.
At number 5.
James at 5. James has entered the conversation of league MVPs. Yes, he has. Yes, he has, Tone. And this is why. This is exactly why. When we talk about the league MVP, this is why winning matters.
Let's talk about the ladder. Let's talk about the ladder first, because the last topic in our headlines is
LeBron James.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the ladder. Why did Nikola Jokic surpass SGA?
That's I still have not gotten a satisfactory answer on that at all.
I haven't gotten an answer at all.
SGA has been as steady and as consistent. He only missed one game as any MVP or as any great player this season. The Oklahoma City Thunder have played 60 games. He's only missed one game of the 11 losses that they have. He only missed one of them. He's been a part of that. Of the 49 wins that they have, he's been a part of every last one of those. He's got the most 20-point games in the league this year. He's got the most 30-point games in the league. He's got the most 40-point games. And guess what, Tone? He's got the most 50-point games in the league this year.
Nobody else is longest active streak of 20-plus point games, I guess.
Yes, he does. 100% he does. And Oklahoma City, because again, the same reason why James has entered the MVP race is why SGA should still be at the top of the ladder of the MVP race. Oklahoma City is far and away the best team in the Western Conference. It's not close. It's Oklahoma City, and then it's everybody else in the regular season. There's the Lakers, there's Denver, there's Memphis, there's Houston, there's the Clippers, there's Minnesota, there's Golden State, there's Sacramento. But at the top of that, it's Oklahoma City. They've got an all-time great defense. Their defense has slipped a little bit throughout the course of this season. I think over the last month or so, I think they're right at the top of the top 10, even though they still have had an all-time great defense the entire season. Offensively, they have an all-time great offense, and that's largely due to Shea. So because of that, nothing has changed with him. Joker, on the other hand, I watched him. They lose in Milwaukee. Not only do they lose in Milwaukee, I'm sure that you've seen this with me, Tone. I had to ask the question because I watched when y'all played them, and then I watched them play Boston on Sunday afternoon. I'm asking, has the code been cracked on Joker? Has Joker been figured out? And that's not to say you stop him. No, I'm not saying that. But can we slow him down? And are there steps that we can take? Have we been shown now steps that we could take to slow him down? I haven't seen any indication that SGA has been slowed down this season at all. None whatsoever. At all.
They'll tell you it's the refs that are keeping him at the foul line that's keeping him going, but
which is fine.
I think the Lakers or someone else maybe previously, but the first time I saw it done as effectively as I had was when the Lakers picking him up full court and not letting him kind of get into his, what he get to his spot where he's like, I'm going to be comfortable here, or even sometimes he gets at the top of the key and just takes, or even back and just takes a couple of dribbles and kind of looks and see what's going on, and people kind of they play off him a little bit, and I think they're scared of what they do if they're up on him because he can kill you that way too. Right. And it's like, no, I'm going to make him work because nobody wants to work. Like I love, this is as an old man, I love to just walk up the court, find my spot. Nobody's playing defense on me. Someone passed me the ball. Boom. Nice, open, easy jumper. Beautiful. I hate it when they pick me up at full, because once I hit a few in a row, even these old guys, they pick me up full court. I'm like, dude, like, it's men's league. Get off me.
Get off me. 100%. And
that's always been the case. Like, I think it was Devin Booker who was like getting double teamed in a summer league, something, and
in a pickup and pickup in the summertime. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, we're playing defense is what we're doing. Like, get over it. But every player, doesn't matter, doesn't like that. So I think it bothers him enough. And so look, he's now going to have to adjust.
And
but right now,
it's the question that I asked. And that was the question that I was going to ask you, Tom, because I'm looking at what ended up happening with Joker when they played the Lakers specifically, because I had never seen anybody do what the Lakers had done in picking him up full court. So I'm thinking to myself, all right, I'm not going to jump the gun here and say that the code has been cracked. I did ask the question, but I'm not going to jump the gun. How does Mike Malone counter this? Well, the first thing I'm thinking, Tone, is he has to turn him into a 5-man. Well, what I mean when I say that is what Shaq was, what Olajuwon was, what David Robinson was, what Ewing was. I'm going to now be a rim runner. That's what I'm going to be. If Rui is going to pick me up full court, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run to the rim. Joker runs. I watched Joker when they ended up beating you guys in 2020.
Yeah, he's not as unathletic as we make it seem.
Well, that was the first thing I thought. So I'm thinking that there's no way he's beating Anthony Davis up the floor. He was beating Anthony Davis up the floor on the regular. So I'm thinking, okay,
if he runs to a spot in the post, Rui has no, like,
he's dead, Tone. He's dead. So I'm thinking, let's turn him into Shaq. Let's turn him into a legit big, and because he did that against Phoenix in the playoffs that same year, where he ended up running past DeAndre Ayton, and he was burying Kevin Durant in the post, and Kevin Durant is screaming at Ayton like, "Get your ass back, because this ain't my guy." So I'm thinking to myself, let's get back to that. And once you counter that, now you get the ball in his hands, the defense collapses. We all know the great passer that Joker is, how great that they play off of him, how much better they are. Now that makes him even more viable, which makes them more viable.
I can't believe
LeBron James
is in the top 5.
So we wasn't doing this with Jabbar. We weren't. In 1988, we were not doing this with Jabbar.
LeBar wasn't doing this either,
That's
though.
probably why.
Jabbar was not, as someone who wished he was. Jabbar, I said LeVar. Jabbar wasn't doing the things that LeBron is doing. And before we do that, let's just quickly
have a bigger conversation here. Are we sure that Nikola Jokic is the best player in the league? Are we sure about that? Because I would have to argue, and I would have to say right now today that LeBron James is the best player in the NBA.
Oh boy. Okay.
How you feel about our Hendrick Perkins? And listen, now, I'm not surprised that Shannon's going, yup. But so's Chat A5 saying, yup. So there's, whether it's real or fake, there's a narrative that LeBron James is the best player, and it's not Jokic. And let me just go back a step.
Mm-hmm.
At the beginning of the season, who did I tell you was the best player in the NBA?
You told me it was James.
And why? Do you remember why I told you it was James?
You told me it was James because of everything that he did on the offensive end of the floor and on the defensive end of the floor. And
that every other player in that conversation has a bigger flaw than his flaw. His flaw is effort, which he can change, and age, which seems not to be an issue. so
I'm 40, so what? Ain't no big deal. I can still do it.
So if we throw out the age and it's just effort, well, you don't have to play defense 48 minutes a game. You can play it in spurts and be effective. And guess what? They're playing it in spurts, and he's putting up. Now I get it. It's a different game. This is why we shouldn't compare stats to other eras and different years, like even against himself. He's putting up better numbers than he did in one of his MVP seasons.
2013, it's the same numbers. It's the same. Now, if you look at, if you're the casual fan, Tone, and you look at 2013, the numbers in 2013, and you look at what's going on today, where he's averaging 25, 8, 7, and almost 9. In 2013, I think he was 26.8, 7 and 8. You're like, and he won the league MVP. You think it's, and they're in second place now, and they were in first place in 2013. You're looking at that, you're going,
and that's East versus West too. He's in the tougher. Like, look at who's in the West right now. We're going to take a deep dive on them. He's playing tougher competition, right? That's what they all tell me.
So the logic naturally is, well, why isn't he the league MVP? Of course, you're going to say that. Why isn't he the league MVP? Well, here's the problem with that. The problem with that is SGA and Joker have been far and away the two best players and the most valuable to their team's success from the beginning up until this point. Like I mentioned to you earlier, Tone, 77 days ago, they were the last team in the play-in tournament. JJ Redick was a fad. JJ Redick is not, he's a gimmick. This thing is not working. James is washed. I think this is his last season. If it's not his last season, next season is definitely his last season. He can't keep doing this. We go from that to they're at the top of the Western Conference, and now he's the best player in the league. Well, wait a minute. He's always been, in terms of a player, he's always been at the top of the league. He wasn't playing like that, though. That's the problem. He's playing like that now, which makes it difficult to ignore him to be in the conversation. Is he going to win? Is he going to win the league MVP? No, he's not.
Are you sure?
No, I'm 100% confident he's not winning the league MVP. No, there is no conversation between him and Joker. He has now entered the MVP conversation. Sure, I get that, but he's not.
If he is top 5 right now.
Yep.
And he continues to put up the numbers that he's putting up. And look, I don't think they're going to catch OKC, but he finishes as the 2nd seed. And they're even close to OKC.
Yep.
And he's putting up these type of numbers. And you've got Jokic, who, let's say, they're in 3rd, but let's say they're in 3rd, but they could be in 5th, right? They're only 2 games They're only 2 games ahead of the Rockets. So let's say he's in 5th. So now you got Jokic in 5th. You've got James in 2nd. You've got who else?
SGA
that's not going to Tatum. And you got, let's say, Milwaukee's actually only half a game out of being in like 6th as well. So let's say you got Giannis in 6th, Jokic in 5th.
Why wouldn't it go to? Well, stop right there, Tone. Why isn't it going to Tatum over James? Why not? I lead my team in every major category. I lead us in points, rebounds, assists, blocks, and Porzingis leads us in blocks, but I lead us in points, rebounds, and assists. And we're in 2nd place in the Eastern Conference. We're the defending NBA champions. With us doing that, I'm just like you are. I'm listening.
Yeah. Narrative. And in this case, it's like reverse voter fatigue. You know, we haven't given James an MVP award in like 27 years.
That would be nuts.
And he's been the best player in this league and the best thing for this league. And guess what? I'm following the money. What a great story. At 40 years old, he started the season starting a game with his son, the first time in NBA history, hiring, and let's be clear. 2 things can be true at the same time.
Yep.
Hiring his podcast partner. So he could have gotten hired just because of that, and he turns out being a good coach. The 2 things don't have to be separate. They're not mutually exclusive. So he starts off, he hires his best buddy as his podcast co-host, as a head coach. He starts the season. It's a throwaway season. He's playing with his son who shouldn't be in the NBA. And it turns out they trade for Luka Doncic, a top 3 player in the NBA.
Maybe I got an opportunity to win.
He puts up numbers like he did in 2013 when he won the Finals MVP. Oh, and 40 years old. You thought it was impressive when Kareem got Finals MVP at 37?
38.
Whatever. He gets an MVP at 40, a regular season MVP at 4. This guy's the GOAT. You can't argue it. And what's the narrative ESPN, Entertainment Sports Programming Network, entertainment, wants to push? What is the NBA trying to do? Get their ratings up because of what better? We need to face the league. He's always been here. He never left.
Tone, this would so water down. This would completely get rid of how valid the league MVP is, because it would be valid. It 100% been valid. Yes, it has. It was valid when Magic was winning. It was valid when Jordan won it. It was valid when Jabbar won it. It was valid when Russ won it.
If you ask the people nowadays, because I just saw today, Jordan in 90-95 played 17 games and was 11th in MVP voting.
Right, he was.
I even have Jordan as the GOAT, and I'll tell you that's ridiculous.
Right. No, that part I want. That part I won't argue. But I mean, to say that what SGA has been doing all season long, what Joker has been doing all season long, now gets nullified specifically because of narrative, not because of what you've been doing all year long, like these guys. Because to your point, this wasn't even supposed to happen. This was a throwaway season. Turns out we can probably win this thing.
Joker
we have an opportunity to win.
Joker already has 3. SGA is young enough; he'll get another chance. You're never gonna get another 40-year-old playing like this.
You had 10 years to do that, Tone. I'm not trying to hear that. Nope. You had 10 years to do that with James at the 13.
40.
It's 12 years, Tone. This is 12 years 40. Now since James.
40. He wasn't.
What we doing?
Yeah. 100%.
So we're gonna give this league MVP to James based on the narrative of James.
Do you not think he's? Wait, is he not a top 5 player in the NBA?
I'll take it a step further than that. I'm not sure that he's not. Let's see, Joker, yes. SGA, yes. Giannis, yes. Then after that, I mean, I'm a Jason Tatum guy. I'm a Jason Tatum. I am a Jason Tatum guy. Is James playing better than Jason Tatum has been playing as of late? Yes, he has been. And Jason Tatum has been fantastic.
So he's a top 5 player in the NBA. He's
So over the course of the last like maybe month or so,
the MVP award isn't about. Honestly, it's not even about consistency throughout the year. It's about the entire totality of the year. And yeah, sometimes it's about who has a late run. That's why there's a ladder, and that's why they change. Because it's not. If there was no ladder and it's just we're going to look at it at the end of the year and see who was the most consistent.
No, we don't.
That's
We
never
don't
who
know
we
that. No.
So if he's a top 5 player that we agree on, he's on the second best team in the Western Conference, the most competitive conference with the most talent, with the best teams.
Yep.
And he's the most popular, and he hasn't won one in 12 years, and he's putting up numbers like he did in his MVP season, and he's in the biggest market, and so there is
Tone, this all sounds like narrative. He's not better than Jason Tatum today. He's
doesn't
not.
matter who's better.
I think he's playing better than Jason Tatum.
The better player doesn't always win.
The better player doesn't, but the better player did win last year. In 23, the best player in the league won the MVP, and that was Joker.
Yeah, that happens sometimes.
Yes, the best player in the league did. But here's the problem with that. The problem is that I can only name in the last 12 years, James and Joker are the two definite best players. I don't think KD was the best player in the league in 14 when he won the league MVP.
Was Harden? Was Westbrook?
No, I don't think Giannis was the best player in 20. I don't think that. I'm not arguing. So I think it was.
I'm so confused. So I'm pushing for LeBron to win the MVP, and you're saying no.
You're 100% doing that. Yes, and the reason why I'm having a problem with it, Tone, is because of what these other two guys have done all season long. James just emerged over the last month and a half. That's when James became viable in this conversation over the last month and a half.
No. He can't be averaging the numbers he's averaging, and just it was all of a sudden like he's been playing.
Yes, Tone. He was washed 2 months ago. He was washed.
According to who? You
guys were in a play-in tournament. You were a first-round exit. That's what the logic was on you guys. Okay. Now all of a sudden, James is 26, almost 26 a game, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, and the Lakers at the top of the Western Conference. I knew this was going to happen. I said this. I said if this Laker team ends up as a top 3 seed, and I got Tone, I'm talking when I tell you that I got dump trucked when I said that if this team ends up as a top 3 seed in the Western Conference, James is going to get in the conversation for league MVP. I got dump trucked. I got blitzed.
Yeah, that's because you're with a bunch of guys who think 2 + 2 is 5.
Yeah, I got blitzed.
I saw that clip.
So it was ridiculous, 100%. I said that, and I'm thinking to myself, I understand why. Not because I think he's going to win it, but he's 100% going to get in this conversation. No matter what Giannis is doing, no matter what Jason Tatum is doing, he is going to get in this conversation, and it's going to happen. And here we are. For
me, it's not a surprise. I told you coming into the season, I thought he was the best player in the NBA.
You still said
and
that too.
and I know you hate it, but media and narrative matter in this. And when it's ratings are down, the money is but there's no face of the league. We need this, we need that. Well, then that's what happens. Now,
it's not that I hate it, Tone. Wait a minute. Hold on. It's not that I hate it. I'm a James guy. You know me. I'm a James guy. I'm thinking, what does this say about the rest of the league if a 40-year-old is still the best player in the game?
Well, when I said it to begin the league, I said it because the league is focused on certain things. And so the players now have a focus on certain things. So you have guys like Luka and Jokic who are not good defensively, even if they try. Like they're okay, but they're not like they can never be good, above average defenders. Like when they try, they'll be average. You've got guys like Giannis, who's a great defender, can score, but obviously flaws in his game, shooting, free throws, this, that, the other thing.
Sure.
Jason Tatum, although he's gotten significantly better with the consistency, still sometimes is inconsistent in terms of his ability to assert himself and be that guy. And he's got a roster where he shouldn't have to be anyways. Like that actually, it hurts him and it helps with wins, but it hurts him because he's like, hey, I've got guys who I can rely on, so I don't have to do it as much, which is good. It's good for his longevity, not good for the MVP narrative. So those are really the guys. And so when I looked at those top players and as SGA, honestly, I wasn't looking at him as a top player coming into the season for that conversation. He's there though, don't get me wrong. But when I looked at those other guys, I was like, well, James can score with all of them. He's a better playmaker than all of them, with the exception of maybe Jokic at this point in their career. And if he puts in the effort, he's a better defender than all of them, with the exception of Giannis. So if I got a guy who's, offensively right there with all of them, defensively, like, again, only one guy's a better playmaker, but offensively he's the best. Defensively he's the second best. And he's shooting 40. The most important thing in basketball right now, he's shooting over 40% from three. So he's doing.
We got to stop this narrative too, Tone. We got to stop this about spacing. He can shoot the basketball. We got to stop that.
Oh yeah.
Kill it.
Over 40%. So that's why at the beginning of the season I said to you, I have him as the best player in the league, because I'm not comparing him to 2013 James. I'm comparing him to 2024-25 Luka,
right.
2024-25 Jokic, and those guys are great, but he's not that far off, and he's done it more than the rest of them. He's just there. So that's why I said it. I was like, if I need a game, if I need to win a game, and I got to pick first from all of those guys, I'm picking him first overall.
I just think it's,
and you know how I feel about him, and I'm still picking him first. So, like I say, fluent over feelings. I say it all the time. Doesn't matter how I feel.
And you know how I feel about him, and I'm just amazed that this is where we are today in March of 2025. This is where we are today. If I would have said to you in March of 2015, 10 years from now, we're still going to be here with this dude. 10 years from now, we're still going to be doing this. If I told you in 2005 of March, when you saw James doing what he's doing, 20 years from now, we're still going to be here with this guy. Still. Give me a break, man.
But this
guy's incredible.
This is where you're going to get what you want, because this is going to hurt him.
Quote, Channing Frye said it the other day. It's unfortunate, but why do you want to be the face of the league when all the people that cover our game and talk about our game on a day-to-day basis bleep on everybody? Unquote. Wilbon, do you agree with LeBron?
Mostly no, but there's a lot of layers here, and there's some stuff I might agree with him. And I watched Channing Frye have this rant, and it was insightful. And I disagree with Channing, who I know and like tremendously. That I don't know that LeBron feels this way because I haven't asked him. I'd like to ask him, is he referring to the constant comparisons of Michael Jordan? Because if he doesn't like that, too damn bad.
That's kind of part of it. It is. That's part of being
him pooping on the media might be the thing that keeps him from winning the MVP, because a lot of good points in that. You can go watch the whole clip. I didn't want to play the whole thing, but you're part of the media. Let's be honest. You sat there all summer, and let's remember what he was saying on his podcast. He was pooping on the league. He's the same guy who not that long ago, a couple months ago, said there's too many threes in the NBA. He said it. We're shooting too many threes. He's in the summer. He was saying guys don't know how to do this. Guys don't know how to run that. My son, did he not say at the end of last season, my son can make one of these rosters or play whatever? Like,
he did say that.
He's part of the media problem too, and now he's trying to blame the media, which is why people always pick on him so much. The comparisons to Michael Jordan, like, him saying he didn't. I think he said something to the extent of he didn't ask to be the face of the league. I almost cussed. Not bad. Yeah, you got chosen one tattooed on your body. You quite literally do this like you're a king every time you do something good. You picked number 23 and said, because of how I feel about Michael Jordan, you do the powder that you stole from, you did all that stuff that Michael Jordan does. You 100% asked for it. You took it, and good for you. You took it. You have a media company that you own. You have a media company that you own that spits out these narratives. You didn't ask to be compared. You didn't ask to be the face of the league. You 1000% asked to be the face of the league. And hold on a second, Goat James Kingdom. There's nobody that has half a brain argues this isn't zesty Jordan. He said it himself. He does it because of Jordan. Like, that's him. That's who he wanted to be. Him. He wanted to surpass him. So all of those things are true, and that's okay. but don't say it's not true.
Right. Well,
and just for the record, is the media pooping on the league and pooping on players more than we ever have? No, there's just more outlets and there's more media. You and I are now media. In 1980, we may not have had this platform, but guess what? Go read the newspaper. Go read the newspaper. They were shitting on these players back then. They were pooping on the league in the 60s. In the 70s, they said it sucked. In the 80s, most of the players, they were saying the same thing. In the 90s, you would read articles about how bad they were. In the 2000s. So none of this is new.
Well, here's the thing, though, Tone. Well, number one, heavy is the head that wears the crown. So there's a lot that comes with being the face of the league. And James has personified all of that. He's been a great player for over 20 years. Not only has he been a great player, he's been an ambassador. He's been a great role model. He's been all of these things for the last 20 plus years. And what has he gotten in the process of that? He ain't Michael Jordan. He ain't Jordan. So if I'm not Jordan, okay. So if I'm not Jordan, right. So if I'm not Jordan, does that mean I ain't shit?
No.
That's what the logic has been. Because you ain't Jordan, you ain't shit.
He's not Jordan and Jordan's not him. And that's okay.
But with that being said, when I think about everything that James has been, and I think about what the face of the league has been, Tone, that's not true, man. It meant something to have the crown. It meant something to have the torch passed to you. When Magic and Bird showed up and they were the faces of the league, they weren't treated like James is treated. They weren't treated like Magic wasn't treated like that. Yes, Magic had a finals performance. What up, nephew? What's going on, brother? I understand your birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday. Just want to say happy birthday. Yep.
Happy birthday.
I know that's your birthday tomorrow. That's what's up, man. Happy birthday tomorrow.
Why don't you ask him what is he getting you since you're going to see him next week? You got to ask him.
I'm gonna get you another.
You don't want to smoke?
It's my nephew right there, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, like I was saying, when Magic and Bird had the mantle to be the face of the league, they carried it, and with all the nonsense that came with it, people weren't treating them as bad as what's going on today. I know we have a bunch of different media outlets, but Magic and Bird were consistently celebrated at that point. And don't forget,
whoa, time out. Tragic Magic was a thing.
Okay, Tragic Magic was a thing because of the way he played.
Right.
Because of the way he played.
That's what we're critiquing.
But the difference with that, Tone, is that he did redeem himself. But previous to that, he was still talked about in a manner that's what the face of the league should be talked about. He carried himself like that. Same thing with Bird. When Bird got into it with Isaiah Thomas, but the only reason why he is this because he's white. Well, that got diffused really quickly. That doesn't happen today with guys like James. With guys like James, that continues to go on and consistently go on. I believe
it was Rodman that said that, by the way, and then Isaiah.
And then Isaiah vouched for him when he ended up saying that. And then the torch got passed to Jordan. And when the torch got passed to Jordan, Jordan carried it, and everybody talked about Jordan, how awesome Jordan was. And to say, 100%. Sam Smith.
They didn't say he was selfish. They didn't say he was a gambler. They didn't. They were critiquing him all the time.
And with that being said, Tone, Sam Smith, who's the reporter for the Chicago Tribune, said it himself. We protected him more than I'd like to admit. He said that, and he's right. The stuff that was going on with Jordan at that time, if we knew what was going on, I found this out as an adult. And anybody who knows me when I was younger, Tone, I wanted to be Michael Jordan. I wanted to do everything that I had the shoes. I had the hair. I remember when he had hair. I had the haircut. I wanted to be Michael Jordan. He had a good publicist. That's what Jordan had. In the end, Jordan was not gold.
No,
Jordan was a jack off. He was.
But my point is, I remember, and maybe because I was on the I hate Jordan train, so I saw more of it or I looked for more of it. We were not, and listen, and I know as a Magic's my favorite player all the time. I remember the critiques of Magic. I remember the positives and the negatives, and even Bird. For all the people that loved him in Boston, the rest was, he's a slow-footed, unathletic white dude, and he wouldn't be shit if he wasn't what. Like, All of those, and I'm not
true, which wasn't true.
It doesn't matter if it's true, but the conversations were being had. So to say that, well, now we poop on the league. We've always pooped on the league. We've always pooped on the best players. Some.
It's way more today, though, Tone.
Well, it's more now because there's more. There's 2 billion more people in the world, and we all have access to the internet. So it feels like more. But if you look at the main media outlets, for the most part, there's one group. It's just like CNN and Fox News. There's one group that loves one side and one group that hates the other side. But there's more now. There's more. There's more. Of course, there's more.
Even if that's true, Tone, I feel like with what James has done over the course of his career, how much he's meant to the league, like he should be celebrated way more than he is.
You don't think he's celebrated?
I don't, Tone. I think that they treat this dude. If I'm being honest with you, I think I'm listening to Stephen A. Smith tell me that nobody fears James. Nobody feared him. What are you talking about? Nobody scared of him?
Yeah, but okay,
this is the dude who was in the NBA championship 9 times in 10 years, but nobody was scared of him. Are you kidding me? I watched DeMar DeRozan get thrown out of a playoff game because he wanted nothing to do with James. He wanted nothing to do with him. But I got to listen to guys talk about nobody feared him. He doesn't have a clutch gene. He's not.
Everyone that says
he doesn't have that dog in him. And I'm thinking to myself, what else does this guy have to do in order to be viewed like the all-time great that he is?
But for everyone that says that, there's another side that overly says how great he is, that he's never done anything wrong. There's the Shannon Sharps of the world, the Kendrick Perkins of the world, the Nick Wrights of the world, who also have platforms, who say he can walk on water. So there's a balance, but don't forget, we live in an age. What's the most popular thing to this day? Who was the halftime show at the Super Bowl?
Not like us. They not like us. They not like us.
Quite literally, a hateful, spiteful man who used to praise Drake has SNL skits about they not like us. They not pedophile. Meanwhile, there's no evidence or anything about Drake doing all that. You know who his best buddy is?
No, I don't.
Dr. Dre, no?
Yes.
And how old is he when he got Mishimi or Mishimel or whatever? How old was when he got her pregnant? When he was 22 and she was 16? That's quite literally statutory rape.
No, she was older than that.
No, she was not, my friend. No, she was not. So we're applauding hate. We're giving a platform to hate, and we're saying this is wonderful to be petty and spiteful. Don't get me wrong. I don't disagree. I like it too. But that's the culture we live in. So to suggest that whether it's LeBron James, whether it was Jordan, Bird, Magic, whoever was at the top in this era would have got, it's not specific to him. It's just that this is where we are, where you can go onto X and literally someone did this as a joke, put a picture of a stick and said, "This is a stick," just to see the negative comments. No, and they got negative comments.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. You're an idiot. What are you talking about?
It's a twig. It's not a stick. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's a cane. It's a. That's what.
Tone, I just and I can appreciate that logic. What
balance? And you're right. The guys that talk on the negative side go way too far because he is an all-time. I've said a million times, I can't give a bigger compliment than to say no active player is on any of my all-time list with one exception, and I have him at number 2. Just imagine, right? They'd go too far on how bad and his failures are, and they focus on the failures. And to counter that, and this is the problem in the world, the other guys go way too far on the he's never done anything wrong. It's perfect. When he wins, it's all him. He played 1-on-5. When he loses, his teammates all suck. They're all terrible play. Do you know how many times I've heard every player on the 07, 08, 09, 2010 roster was trash in Cleveland? All of them. Every single one.
I've heard narratives about how much help he needed, and if I'm being honest with you, I mean the Cavs in 07, nobody had them picked to go to the NBA Finals. But that's neither here nor there. What I want to do is I want to stay focused on what having the mantle of the face of the league meant, and it meant being celebrated. When you turn on the NBA, this face that you see, this is what the NBA represents. I got a guy who's been in the league for over 20 plus years, still playing. To your point, Tone, you just made the case for LeBron James. You know what else you made the case for, Tone? He's going to be a first team All-Pro.
100%.
You made the case for that. He's going to be a first team. He's going to be a first team All-Pro. That kind of stuff right there. When I'm carrying the mantle of being the face of the league, that kind of stuff needs to be celebrated. We shouldn't be talking about this dude like he ain't shit. We should be talking about this dude like he's been around for 20 plus years. I've never seen his face on SportsCenter. I've never seen his mugshot on SportsCenter. I've never known for this dude to be smacking around chicks. He's not out here having a bunch of kids by a bunch of different chicks.
Oh, as a person, he should absolutely be revered.
And if I'm not mistaken, Tone, that is part of it. That is part of being the face of the league. It's not just you being an awesome basketball player. You also being the face of the league and how you represent the league. When I turn on the NBA, when I turn on the NFL, when I turn on any...
Those things should be applauded 100%.
100% they should be, only except they're not, because all we care about with James is what he didn't do, why he's not this, why he's not that. When in reality, he is all of those things that we should be talking about him being. He should be that more.
Off the court, for all we know, because you never know, but for all, you're right. He's a good family man, a good husband, a good father. Hell, he got his undeserving son into the NBA. He's never gotten into trouble. He's building schools for underprivileged kids. He's donating here and doing there and coming out against social issues and all the while building businesses and getting the people that he grew up with, making them millionaires, and do it off the court. He's the GOAT. I'll give you that. However, we live in a world where that's what they do. They'll go back and look. Listen, if you go right now and run for Congress of whatever you live in Florida, they're going to go back and look at your tweets. I know you're not a big Twitter guy, but they're going to go back and look at them from 10, 11, 12, 15, 17 years ago to try and find the negatives. That's just where we are in the world. It sucks. But for him to say, why would anyone want to be the face of the league after playing 22 seasons in the league and being the face of it for probably at least 18 of them, to say, why would anyone want that? Well, you should know better. You should know better. Not only should someone want it, they should be fighting for it. They should be fighting for it because this is the league that gave you the opportunity to be a billionaire. This is the league that gave you everything that you were able to achieve and accomplish, and you took it. Don't get me wrong; it's not like it was given like on a silver platter. But like, that's what I don't like, is that there's the shit on the media, but you're part of the media. Say the game isn't good, they shoot too many threes, but then say, why do people say that? Well, you said it too. So those are the contradictions that I think people push back on. And that's, look, he's not perfect.
And
no one is.
I'm not asking him to be perfect. No, I'm not saying that he's perfect, but for all intents, purposes, and for everything that James has done, once again, when the mantle of being the face of the league is passed down, when it was passed down to Magic and was passed down to Bird, even though the league wasn't as popular, they made it more popular, and it was off the shoulders of guys before them, like Jerry West, like Chamberlain. They made it more popular, and they represented it with class. And we still talk about Magic and Bird today. Still to this day, 40 years later, how awesome they was. And when they passed it to Jordan, he represented the league where guys wanted to be like Mike, and he wanted to be everything that Mike was. And then Mike passed it to Shaq. He passed it to Tim Duncan and Bryant, and then they carried it on. And, Bryant got into that nonsense, but that kind of got thrown by the wayside. Why? Because he started winning again. And people looked past that, and he looked at the awesome player that he was, which I 100% am all for that. But then James shows up.
Can I pause you there, though? In that moment, though, we were talking about Kobe in not the best light.
We were talking about him.
And let's be clear, until his very tragic death, and I don't want to get into it too much, there was still some of those remains. He was rebuilding even after retirement, that image, right? Spending time with his daughter and coaching those kids and doing the spotlight things that he was doing. And like the Oscar that he won for that short film, like he was still having to rehabilitate that image. And I think
he was doing it too, by the way. He was doing it too.
Oh, 100%. That's why when he passed, that's why I think all the love started pouring out. And they're like, he was on his redemption tour, and we didn't get to see it all. And that's what was so sad for a lot of people is we saw a guy redeeming himself and we didn't get to see it. And
oh boy.
Give me a second.
Oh dear.
No, it's him again. And we didn't get to see him finish that redemption tour. And I think what we're seeing is there's a lot of, it's really easy to hate LeBron James. It's really easy to hate him.
Why, Tone?
Why? Because of the things he does and says, right? Him saying, I'm the GOAT. Now, unless you're a LeBron fan, you hate that. But we all like that confidence when someone says, I'm the best, I'm the greatest. We loved it when Muhammad Ali did it. But for some reason, when he says it, people don't like it. The decision, people did not like.
Which he 100% apologized for.
Listen, I'm not making, I'm just saying you said there's a lot of, I'm giving you why there's a lot.
Sure.
Him going and joining two great players, having the decision. Then he goes back to Cleveland. Yep. I'm never going to leave here.
Oh boy.
Why'd you want to zoom in on me?
No, I'm listening to you.
He goes back to Cleveland. I'm never leaving Cleveland. Sorry. Then they win, and he says that one there made me the greatest. He then leaves them again and goes to LA. There's a lot of instances where he has been inconsistent with the things that he has said, and let's be honest, been caught in a lie. Right? There's whole tapes of him. So there's reasons, not all justified, not to like him. So I truly believe when he retires and he's no longer there, he will be loved and appreciated and adored significantly more than he is right now. And I think and here's the other part of the problem. This is why I'm saying I think that they're going to make him the MVP in the face of the league. He hasn't, or has been unwilling to pass. You said all these guys pass the torch. He hasn't done it. He hasn't done it. And to the people, the only people who think he's not easy to hate are people who are fans of his, because if you go back and look, it's people who don't care about Michael Jordan. The world doesn't revolve. I know some people think the world revolves around Jordan and LeBron. It does not. Right. There are people who've never even really know who Michael Jordan is, and they don't like LeBron James. And some of it is straight up jealousy because he's got a great wife, wonderful kids, a bunch of money, super talented, really good. And some people just hate success. That's just the thing. Someone said this to me, and I don't know if it's a very good, accurate analogy, but I'll use it anyways because I know there's a lot of wrestling fans in here. He's like Hulk Hogan in wrestling, where okay, you got to a point, okay, you were the best. Now you're still pretty good. Now you're really old. Now it's time to pass on the mic and put somebody else over. He hasn't done that. So he won't get out of the way for other people. Is that what you're trying to say? I think there's a part of people. I don't feel that way because I just told you what I think. I think he's the best player in the league, but I think there's a portion of the people who would say he's not letting someone else be the face of the league, and that's why he said, "Why would anyone want to be the face of the league? All they do is poop on you and poop on the league. Why would you want to do it?" Well, that's because he doesn't want anybody else to take it. Not my opinion. I'm just sharing. Yes, sir. How can I help you?
Yep.
We have a new conspiracy theory. Okay, hold on a minute.
Uh-oh.
Shay is an alien?
What? No, actually, look at his eye.
Okay.
Look at his eye.
Okay, let's.
Look at his eye.
We have to zoom it in for Jay to see.
What's going on?
Shay's an alien.
Look at his eye.
He's from another. So he's from another planet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called Canada. Get out of it.
Wait, look. Look.
All right.
Coach. Trust.
I like how he calls me Coach. Did you hear that, Coach?
Yes.
Yes, I see. His eye is crazy. Okay.
Dan used to. My man Danny, head coach at UConn. He used to call Coach Hurley Coach. That was his father, by the way, but he used to call him Coach. So.
Yeah. No, you know what it is. He knows when he's like trying to get me to look at somebody saying dad, I ignore him, I drown him out. So, but he's no.
When he says Coach, you don't know who's talking to you, so you turn around.
I instinctively look when he says
I can get with that.
Yeah, I got 12 players. Every time one of them yells coach, I got to look. But
Right.
so yeah, so it's like I'm torn because I'm trying to I always try to share the truth.
Sure.
And the sides of the story that aren't being told. So what you're saying is true. There isn't anything untrue with what you're saying, but there's such a narrative out there that, you know, he lies, he's selfish, he does it, you know, he's been open about how open he is about his legacy and how important that is. And those things, I think, hurt his legacy. I don't think he realizes those things hurt his legacy more than they help. I honestly believe if he just let it go, he would actually be viewed at higher. But I go back to the media company. He complains about a media company. He owns a media company. He complains about the media, but he has Nick Wright and others.
But Tone, I do, just because I own a media company and I am a part of the media does not mean that I have to represent the media the way you guys do and not be critical of the way that you guys represent the media, which is what he's complaining about. Now, I'm not portraying myself and I'm not portraying other people the way you guys do in the media. And I think that's his point. The idea that me being a representative of the media, I have to conduct myself in a way that's not detrimental to other people. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to skew the facts and I don't want to stay away from and I want to stay on point with what's the truth and what people need to hear as opposed to what people want to hear. However, me being a member of the media, like what James is talking about, I want to make sure that people understand that I'm representing people in a light that they need to be represented in when necessary. And with James, I feel like people are representing him in a negative light more often than they are in a positive light. And I don't think that should be the case.
And I get the exact opposite. I get 1,000 why he can walk on water and 1 that he's not. Like constant. He's perfect. He's never done. Like I have people who say he played great in 2011.
He played great in 2011 up until the finals.
In the finals.
Not in the finals.
I have people in my DMs threatening my life saying he in 2011, you're crazy. Those other guys didn't let him be who he needs to be. Right? You have guys who, you know, listen, he's in the chat, so I'll call him out right now. GOAT James Kingdom. I said to him one day, I did a challenge on TikTok and I said, if you think this person's the GOAT, give me the second person and make the reasons why. And I told him, say one negative thing about LeBron James. He said, I'll never do that. I said, I'll never say anything now. I'm calling him out right. He's right there. He just said right there in the comments, he is perfect. That's the problem, is that if you're going to talk about it, you're not impartial, then you're going to get that type. You're going to get the opposite. Yeah. If you're going to say this person, it doesn't matter whether it's LeBron James or anybody else. If you're going to say this person has never done anything wrong, when we know that's not true for anybody, then there's going to be a group of people that say, well, then here's all the things he does wrong. That's just human nature. And when he says, so I'll give you the example again. Yeah. When he says the media's pooping on our game, and a month ago he said, yeah, our game's has some issues because, you know, they shoot too many threes. Well, you just did the same thing.
Well, wait a minute, Tone. Just because now, hold on, Tone. Just because
what's the number one complaint? Oh, we shoot too many threes. That's
right.
That's the one narrative.
100%. Oh, and it's true. But two things can be true. I don't have to enjoy doing something, but want to keep my job and conform to it. James had to conform to being a long ball shooter. Otherwise, I'm not going to stick around. So he had to put the long ball in his game.
100%. I told you this last week, though. Okay, keep going. Sorry, let me not cut you off. Keep going.
But he recognizes that this is what our league has become. Our league has become a long ball shooting league. Now, that's really not my game. I am contributing to that. I'm part of that. But I had to do that in order to prolong my career. Otherwise, I wasn't going to be able to stick around. No. So two things can be true. I did have to get on board with this, but we are shooting too many threes because that's what our game is becoming, and it's taken away from all the other stuff that a lot of us are still good at.
Right.
Including me.
100%.
But I can't do that because all we're doing is shooting the long ball. And I know that I had to do that if I wanted to prolong my career.
There's a quote, Michael Jordan, I believe in 2001, Now, we don't know the exact quote because it was a writer who said someone who was in the room told him this. So, of course, it's hearsay when a writer writes an article, because let's not forget, writers used to write. So you would buy newspapers like people write to get clicks. But he said, and I'll paraphrase to the extent that Jordan said, I never would have had the same career I had if there was a zone. We can't have a zone. We can't allow the zone to be allowed into the league.
Right.
What the point now, there was more to that conversation. He said, because what they're going to do is they're going to take away all the ability from the skill and the players that have skill and ability to drive to the hoop. They're going to take away the center position, which is the most important position historically in the NBA, because they're just going to, if you have a great center, they're just going to collapse everybody on him. If you have a great perimeter player, they're just going to double, triple team. They're just all going to focus on him. And it's just going to become this jump shooting league. And that's why, if you look back even in Phil Jackson's book, he said that's why they never wanted to implement the zone from the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, because it's always been a one-on-one, man-on-man. Can I beat my man? And let's, move the ball around. So the fear was it was going to become a jump shooting league. Well, what the hell did we just do? We became a jump shooting league. Like, they were right that that's what we did.
Yeah.
All of that, though, means nothing to the argument, which is you can't say the media is pooping on the league because it says we shoot too many threes. And you've said, we'll shoot too many threes. Like, that's why I'm saying those are opportunities where he should have said nothing, right? Like, he should have said nothing or said
nothing.
Or said, hey, is the league, or hey, is the league, he's a PR guy, he knows, is the league perfect? No, it's not perfect, but you know what? We've got the most, because that's where I say, let's go positive. It's the most talented we've ever had in the league. We have more skill than ever. We have the best shooters that we've ever had in the league. The flow, the pace of the game is faster than than not ever been, but that it's been in a very, very long time. Like, let's celebrate. We have more talented players. I told you this last week. We have more players that have superstar potential than ever. Let's celebrate the positive. So every time the media, if that's the problem, shits on the league and says, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad, we come back with the positive. Yeah, but this is good, this is good, this is good. Because that's the only way to combat it. If they come you negative and you just say, well, that's because you're dummies,
right,
we've gotten nowhere. We've gotten nowhere.
Yeah.
Now, maybe I'm on a high horse and I'm pooping out unicorns and rainbows. I don't know. But there's so much good in this league. I've told you before, I think this is the best era of basketball ever, the last 10, 15 years ever that I've seen.
I think this is an awesome era of basketball. I've seen some great players, and I love the direction that the league is going in. The big man is alive and well. The 100%. League is one of the
big men doing more than they ever have, and they're alive and well.
This is the most athletic that I've seen. The combination of players, the most athletic, and on top of that, all around players. Like, when I hear guys like Kenyon Martin talk about, these guys aren't playing defense, that shit gets my blood pressure up, because I'm like, yes, they are. Guys are 100% playing defense today. Yes, they are.
No. Yes and no. Yes and no. They're not allowed to play defense like Kenyon Martin was allowed to play defense. So when he looks at it, he's like, well, they're not playing like I was. Well, yeah, because you didn't have the rules in place to stop you. And that's where I think that's going to be a little tweak. I think the NBA is going to start to allow a little bit more hand checking.
Have to open it up a little bit in terms of physicality. Yes, you do.
I think the second they do that, and let's honestly crack down on there's a little bit too much traveling and carrying of the ball. But those are already rules that are in place. So if they just allow a little bit of contact, cut down on the travel and carrying of the ball, the players are good enough. They'll adjust. You're going to see a revitalization, because you have point guards that can score. That was never really a thing before. You have centers that can shoot. Good night. I love you.
Night, young fella.
You have centers that can, you have point guards that can score like they never had before. You have centers. Good night, my love. Your nails look beautiful. Yes.
Hello, dear.
They're very excited about seeing you next week, by the way. Centers that can do more, pass, can dribble, can shoot. There's no more like in the 90s, which everybody loved so much, where it was like, okay, you had a point guard who passed the ball, a shooting guard who scored the most points and took the most field goals on the team, a small forward who's kind of a swift army knife, a power forward who's like the scrapper, dirty work, rebounding guy, and then a center who either was a dominant kind of working center or just another big man who could rebound and block shots. Like that was the setup before. Now you literally have 5 guys on the court who still have positions, but you don't know if it's going to be the center that's the facilitator, if it's going to be the power forward that's a stretch 4. a scoring point guard. Like, it's so great that's why I say, like, look, we just talked for 5 minutes about how great everything is. So I think that counters any negative that anybody says for me. Long rant. We got a lot of topics, but first I got to ask you a question.
I'm listening.
In your opinion, what percentage of a team do I have to own, excuse me, to be considered the owner?
I can tell you right now, more than 1%. Let's get to the bottom of that right now.
Okay, more than one, but
more than 1%.
So if I'm Marshawn Lynch and I own 1% of the NHL Seattle Kraken, can you call me the owner? He owns 1%.
You're an investor. That's what you are.
You're an investor. Okay.
That's what you are.
What about Dwayne Wade? Dwayne Wade is celebrated for being an owner of the Utah Jazz. He owns 2%.
You're an investor. He's not when they're in the meetings talking about money and we got to cut contracts and we got to cut salaries. He's not in those meetings. When the actual check writer is in there, he's not in those meetings. No, he's not.
LeBron owns 2% of Liverpool.
He's a money man. That's what he is. He's an investor.
I don't even believe that. I believe you're a face that people know, because it'll help maybe sell some tickets.
Yeah, that's all. You're an investor.
Let me give you one more. This is the highest one. And the reason I bring it up is I think it was ESPN put out, look at all these owners. Tom Brady owns 5% of the Las Vegas Raiders. I don't care about Birmingham and the Aces. 5%. Is he an owner of the Raiders?
He's an investor. Owners are Mark Cuban. When you own more than a quarter or half or the majority, like 1%, you're not making any major decisions. You're not. They're not consulting you.
Unless you are, I agree. Unless you're the majority, for me, unless you're the majority owner, or you might own, like to your point, you might own a third, but if the other 2/3 are owned by several different things, so you have the biggest stake in the team, that's when I'll call you the owner. So the whole like these guys own teams and they own 1% is like, I get it. It's good for publicity and it looks good and you put their face and they have a nice, seat in the front row, but
kind of like with J-Lo with the Mets and Serena Williams with the Miami Dolphins, stuff like that. And I think she invested in she just invested in something else. But other than that, no.
Yeah, well,
like you're not making any major decisions. You're not.
Yeah, like this. They're not called owners anymore. Quite literally, this came out today, which is why I thought about it, where ESPN said, look at all these owners. And there was a few other ones too, like the Buffalo Bills have a bunch of guys. And I'm like, guys, that's... So I just thought it was... I want to make... I always like to do a sanity check. What's up, Mike? I always do a sanity check because I'm like, am I crazy? But like, I don't see these guys as... Also, like, there's this commercial... I don't know if you have it in the States, where this woman is like she go by and she buys like pennies of portions of a stock for like $5, and she'll like walk in and be like, "Well, I'm the new owner." What? Like, I just bought one share of the Toronto Raptors, so like give me my front row courtside seat. Microsoft Apple better give me a free phone because I own one share.
Yeah. I bought 200 shares, so I'm an owner now. Give me a break.
Oh man. Yeah, so it's funny because when I normally I would just scroll right past it, but I didn't. All right. I'm going to ask you a question.
Yep.
I'm going to give you the teams, but let me eliminate who they are because I don't want anyone to say that you made a biased decision.
Yep.
So on NBA Max, on a Sunday night, we do a show called NBA Max.
Yeah,
we did a draft of players that are 30 plus years old. And I'm going to show you the 4 teams. And basically, here's the starting 5. I'll read it out to you. And then the 3 bench players. And I want you, based on these teams, to say, and so everybody's healthy, but it's who they are right now today. Okay, who they are right now today. And so who would win? So I'll give you the seedings of the team as well. And so team 1 will play team 4, team 2 will play team 3. All right. So the number 1 seed is this team here. So this team, Kyrie, Derek White, LeBron, Jeremy Grant, Rudy Gobert, that's the starting 5 in their positions. With Harden, Clay, and Kelly Olynyk coming off the bench.
Okay.
They're playing Steph Curry, Norman Powell, again, all healthy because I think Powell just got hurt. Kevin Durant, Julius Randle, Joel Embiid, with Bradley Beal, DeMar DeRozan, and Vucevic coming off the bench. So let's start with that series. Who wins that 7-game series?
I don't think that the who did you told me with Kyrie and Derek White and James?
Yes.
I don't think that they have an answer for Joel Embiid. They don't. And if Joel Embiid was healthy, I think he's the difference in that series. As good as James has been, and Rudy Gobert, as good a defender as Rudy Gobert is, like, you're going to have to cancel out Joel Embiid's production, and it's going to be hard to do that. I don't think Rudy Gobert is going to have to cancel out his production, but I think Rudy Gobert is going to have to slow down Joel Embiid. I think Julius Randle outplays Jeremy Grant. James and Kevin Durant. I think that would be a great matchup. Kyrie and Steph. I think that Kyrie could outplay him, but I also think Steph could outplay Kyrie Irving too. I think that DeMar DeRozan, I think he does a little bit more today. He's still a little more athletic, and I think that the rotation players for Steph's crew, I think that they could be the difference. I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna go with that Steph crew.
Steph crew. Okay, yeah. That's what I looked too at. It was the bench players. It was for sure. All right. So in the second series, you got Dame, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Pascal Siakam, Giannis at the center. So small lineup with Marcus Smart, Brook Lopez, and Alex Caruso coming off the bench. They're facing Drew Holiday, Jimmy Butler, Andrew Wiggins, Anthony Davis, Nikola Jokic, with Van Vliet, Chris Middleton, and Al Horford coming off the bench.
Well, Drew Holiday and Butler, are they going to be able to get along considering what Butler did to him? That's I am a little bit concerned about that. I think Leonard outplays Wiggins. That front court with Anthony Davis and Joker, they're the difference in that series, and I don't think that they can combat that. And I think that the team with Holiday, I think they end up winning. Yes.
All right. So now, no games in Denver. So Embiid's. So you have to pick a neutral site so Embiid can show up. If it's in Denver, we know he won't play.
Seattle.
So you got this team. So you got Holiday, Butler, Wiggins, Davis, Jokic, Van Vliet, Chris Middleton, Horford against Steph, Powell, Durant, Randall, Embiid, Beal, DeRozan, Vucevic.
Yep. Wow. I just think that front line of Davis and Joker, coupled with buckets, I just think that they're too much. As good as Curry and KD are and Embiid, I just think that front line of Davis and Joker, I think it's too much. And I think that they end up winning.
You are incorrect. The team 4 with Steph and Powell win. Get out of here. That was my team. All right. No, there you go. All right. Well, we're putting them into 2K, so we're gonna see what we're gonna see what 2K says.
79-3, some nonsense like that. 80-2.
I think you knew that was my team and you picked against them.
81-1.
All right. What do we got 20 minutes left. Do you want to invite the people or do you want to go through? We still have
we can invite the people, but I still want to go over these topics, Tone. I 100% want to get into the seedings.
Let's do that. Let's do that. Okay.
I want to get into that.
If the playoffs ended today, so let's start with that one. If the playoffs ended today, OKC is the 1 seed, Lakers the 2 seed, Nuggets are the 3, Memphis the 4, Houston the 5, Golden State the 6, Clippers the 7, Sacramento the 8, Minnesota 9, Dallas is the 10. So let's start with the first play-in game. Clippers, aka the Buffalo Braves, play the Sacramento Kings. Who wins that matchup?
I think they lose to Sacramento. I think Sacramento beats them.
Okay, so Sacramento's now the 7th seed.
Mm-hmm.
And you just think that's because of it's the Clippers going to clip. I got you.
I had the Clippers making the playoffs before the season started, though.
Yeah,
I didn't. I did not have them making the playoffs before the season started.
So now you got Minnesota and Dallas, and I think we're going to say Minnesota because of all the Dallas.
Dallas is decimated. Yes, Dallas is decimated by injury, so they're out.
So I love this. I love this. Minnesota plays the Clippers.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye, Leonard. Goodbye, James Harden. See you later.
I love it.
Take care.
Couldn't happen to a better squad. Before Dallas got injured, by the way, before everybody on Dallas got injured, I had Minnesota and Dallas replacing, like finding a way to beat the Clippers and Sacramento, and they just fall right up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here's the matchups then. We got OKC, Minnesota. I don't think that's a good matchup for OKC.
OKC and Minnesota?
Yeah.
See, here's the thing, Tone, and I wanna make sure that I get my seedings together, because I didn't go off the play-in tournament. I just went off of I want to make sure that I get this correct, because I went off of 1 through 8, and no, you
can do that instead if you want.
No. I just went off of 1 through 8, and I had OKC seeing Sac in round 1. That's what I saw. Okay. And I had the Lakers. I had the Lakers seeing the Clippers in round 1, and we got 2. And again, we got different brackets, Tone. So I got 1 and 8 over here, and I got 3 and 4 over here. I got the 2 and 7 over here, and I got the 4 and the 5 seed over here. Right. So with the 1 versus 8, I think Oklahoma City handles Sacramento. I just think that with their as good as Sacramento's offense, Zach LaVine's been fantastic, by the way. I think he was player of the week in the Western Conference, averaging like 25 a game, 27 a game, something like that. He went for 42 a couple of nights ago. With that being said, right, I think that Oklahoma City's rotation plus with their defense is just too much for Sacramento. I think they handle Sacramento in 5 games. I think they handled Sacramento. Not only that, but also they're limping into the playoffs because Sabonis has been hurt. So Sabonis has this hamstring injury, so he's not going to be 100%. So I think that's going to affect him. I'm going to go on record, and I'm going to say it. I think the Lakers smoked the Clippers. I don't think that they beat them in like a dogfight 6. I think they smoked them in 5 games. I think that they don't have an answer for both James and Luka. They don't have an answer for that. Kawhi Leonard looks a step slow. Kawhi Leonard looks a step slower. Norman Powell also is dealing with a hamstring injury. Again, this is contingent on what's going on today. The Clippers, as good as their perimeter defense has been, I think the coaching, where I watched them play the Lakers a couple of nights ago, and Ty Lue left Dunn on the floor with 2 fouls in the first quarter. He ended up picking up his 3rd foul. Like, it's stuff like that I see happening with the Clippers. And I think that the Lakers handle them in 5 games. I think they get them right up out of there in 5 games. Then you have Golden State and Denver. I think that's a 6-game dogfight, and I think that Denver ultimately outlasts Golden State off the strength, Tone, that I'm looking at Golden State thinking, as good as Buckets is, even though Buckets is their secondary scorer now, which they need, he's going to be confronted with Aaron Gordon. That's going to be his primary matchup. And Aaron Gordon did a really good job on him in the finals. So now what it's going to come down to is my best player is better than your best player, because that means Curry's going to have to outplay Joker at the end of every game. And I don't think he can do that. So I think Golden State is out. And then that leaves Memphis and Houston. So with Memphis and Houston, I think that Memphis I don't think they get bounced, but I think Houston can outlast them off the strength of how good their defense is. I feel like Steven Adams, he can do a really good job in almost taking Jaren Jackson out the series because of how physical he is. And the fact that Jaren Jackson doesn't rebound, that's a huge problem. On top of that, Amen Thompson, I think he can wear down Ja. So we talking about Ja, who come game 3, game 4, he's dealing with this 6'6", 6'7" Scottie Pippen-like that's consistently handling him throughout the series and making everything tough on him. I think he runs out of gas. I think Houston beats them. Now it gets really good, Tone. You know why? Because I'm looking at the Los Angeles Lakers having to get past the Houston Rockets to get to the Western Conference Finals.
Easy. Easy breezy.
Thinking about them having to get to the Western Conference Finals, especially in that space that they're in, right? As good as Houston's defense is, I don't think offensively.
Well, hold on. You had OKC winning.
Yep.
You had the Lakers winning.
Yep.
You had Denver winning.
Yep.
You had the Nuggets winning. Or sorry,
I had the Nuggets winning, and I had the Rockets winning.
Okay, so the second round is OKC Houston.
Would it be OKC Houston? I thought it would be. I thought it would be OKC Denver.
No, 1-4. So Lakers got to play.
So they get the lowest seed.
I like yours better.
Yeah, so they. I thought they ended up with the. And then the Lakers get the second highest seed. Then the Lakers are out because I can't see them beating Denver. I just
what? No, you just said we figured out the.
You cracked the Joker code.
Yeah,
I think that, like I told you, Tone, the counter to that is turn Joker into a 5-man, and I'm having a difficult time with the logic that you're going to completely hold him down for the series. One of the main problems that the Lakers had with Denver last season, it wasn't just Joker, it was also MPJ with his length. And I mean, I think he's knocking down 48% of his wide open threes. Joker creating shots by running to the rim and having the defense collapse on him. I'm having a difficult time seeing your boys beat them 4 times in seven games. So I got that wrong. I thought that
you got that wrong. Lakers in 5. I'm alive.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. OKC Houston.
OKC ends up seeing Houston. Tone, to be honest with you, because as good as OKC's offense is, I think this is going to be a battle of attrition, and OKC's rotation against Houston's rotation and how good Houston's defense is. And I know this sounds ridiculous, but I think this is a 5-game dogfight.
5-game?
I think this is a 5-game dogfight. I think that each one of these games comes down to a 1, maybe 2 possession game at the end. I think this is a dogfight, Tone. And I think Oklahoma City ends up handling them in a dogfight. Kind of like what happened with y'all in Denver when they beat y'all 4-0, but it was a 1 possession game and like buzzer beaters and stuff like that. So I would not be surprised if it turned into that, which would ultimately leave Oklahoma City and Denver. And I just think Oklahoma City outlasts them. As good as Joker is, I'm going to give Joker a puncher's chance just off the strength that he's the best player in the league. But I think Oklahoma City outlasts them, and I think that Shea could outplay Joker in this series. I think that could happen.
So here's the thing for me is that because I know you didn't take into account the play-in. So because I think Sacramento moves to 7 and Minnesota moves to 8, Minnesota knocks off OKC in a huge upset. Sacramento loses to the Lakers. Golden State beats the Nuggets, and Houston beats Memphis. Then you've got Minnesota playing Houston, and you got the Lakers and Golden State in the second round, and then you've got Lakers and Minnesota in the Western Conference Finals. And Lakers move on
to the NBA Finals.
To the NBA Final.
Which, by the way, Adam Silver, yes. Not Adam Sandler, he's not the comedian. Adam Silver is actually having dreams of seeing the Lakers and the Celtics in the finals.
100%. And then the Lakers win, tie up Boston for most all-time NBA rings, although that's not true because the NBA didn't start until 75 years ago, blah, blah, blah. But anyways, that's a different...
It did not start in 1947.
It didn't. So so we'll revisit that playoff scenario as things unfold. Keep going. Yep. What do you mean? You want me to tell you why? Okay, so in 1946-47, the league was called the BAA, the Basketball Association of America.
Yep.
In 1949-50, that season, it merged with the NBL, the National Basketball League, and became the NBA. The first actual NBA game was 1949. Tri-City Blackhawks versus the Denver Nuggets. Tri-City won. It was like October 27th or something, or 29th. That was the first NBA game because, I'm sorry, it wasn't called the NBA. That's like saying, let me think. Okay. Oh, what NFL team or what pro football team has the most Super Bowls?
What pro football team has the most Super Bowls? Isn't it whoever Otto Graham played for?
No, Super Bowls.
Well, the Super Bowl started in what, when the merger happened?
That started like 60 years ago or something.
Yeah, and when I want to say 67. I think that's when the merger was, something like that. And the team that has the most Super Bowls is the Patriots. They got 7 of them. No, I'm sorry. They got 6. They got 6 of them.
No, the Packers have 13.
I know they won a bunch of them in
the Bears 60s. Are second with, and the Bears are second with 9. And everyone's going to say, Tone, you're crazy.
What's going on, Tone? What am I missing here?
Yeah, because those were NFL championships. It didn't get called the Super Bowl. It didn't become the Super Bowl until the NFL AFL merger. So we wouldn't say the Packers have the most NFL titles, or sorry, we would say the Packers have the most NFL titles. We wouldn't say the Packers have the most Super Bowls. So how can you call it the NBA if it wasn't called the NBA until 1949-50?
It wasn't called the NBA until 1949.
It wasn't called before that. So everything you've been told by the NBA is a lie.
So if I already know about the NBA, I'm trying to make sense of the NFL because the merger. When the merger happened between the Packers, so are we? Because this isn't semantics here. This matters.
No, this matters. In 1967, the NFL and AFL
merged,
and you had the Packers, the Jets, right in the first Super Bowl.
The Colts.
No, the Colts. Excuse me.
Yeah, it was the Colts.
And the Packers won. It was their 3rd straight NFL title, but the first Super Bowl was the Packers. So technically, the Patriots and Steelers are tied with 6 Super Bowls. So when you ask the question, who has the most Super Bowls, it's the Packers and Steelers.
And because Tone is a detailed guy, you're going to have to ask. So if you're going to do that, you're going to have to say, who's got the most league titles? How about that? You can't say Super Bowls.
If you say
who's got the most league titles? Well, the difference between Super Bowls, because Super Bowls didn't happen until after 67 when we merged. Who's got the most league titles? Well,
exactly. That's why you can't call the NBA the NBA, because I actually have 3 different things. It was the BAA and the NBL were 2 different things. It became the NBA in 49-50. So that's when that started. Right. However, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a Laker fan. If I'm being real, the NBA as we know it started in 76 and 77 when the ABA and NBA merged. That's when they had everybody. And that's when I say, well,
no, I'm not going to do that. No, just because they had another league, they had a defunct league, that doesn't mean that the NBA wasn't going on. No,
that's why I said there's 2. The NBA started that year, and then that's when.
No, the NBA was already in existence, and the ABA merged with the NBA.
That's it, but just like the Super Bowl. So we should call them, starting from 76, 77, the Super Titles.
Oh boy.
Do you know why I want to call it that?
Why do you want to call it the Super Titles?
Because post ABA NBA merger, the Lakers have 5 chips. The Lakers have 11 chips, by far the most, and the Celtics only have 5.
Here's the agenda. Okay, of course. Why am I not surprised about this? Now it makes sense. Okay, it makes 100%.
Hey, I don't know why my mic's or my camera's still not working, but thanks for letting me join. So I wanted to kind of move things to a different direction, right? I think we're not embracing and showing a lot of love to Chris Paul, because I think the way he had that Suns team going and moving in the right direction, and then now that he's not on the team. So the question I have for you guys is, right, can Booker actually be a number 1 on a championship team? Because I think if you give him more responsibilities, he doesn't live up to that, potential that he was with Chris Paul. Whereas when he's a number 2 with Chris Paul, he's still ascending.
He was the number 1 on that team.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. So that you asked, and I saw that as 2 different questions.
Yeah.
So one, can Booker be the number 1 on a championship team? My answer is no. Yeah. 2, was Booker better when he had a floor general veteran, Paul, to kind of facilitate and do all those other things to help his life be easier? Yep. Yeah, he's better when he has a guy like Chris Paul.
Just like everybody does. I mean, if you think about all great players, they're better when they play with better players. That's just I just think that's just part of it. But that team was already ascending to being great before they got Chris Paul. They were going to make the playoffs that next year before they got Chris Paul.
Okay, but what's going on? Why is Booker getting worse now with Kevin Durant though? That doesn't make any sense.
Why is he getting worse? Well, the dynamic of that team is completely different. The dynamic of that team is completely different than what it was when he was on the team in 21. That offense was built around him. That offense was conducive to him. He was playing with a lead guard who was a primary distributor. The offense where they looked for him more. Plus, he also had a big man to attract a lot of attention. They get no action in Phoenix at the 5 spot, none whatsoever. They got a point guard who I think is a backup lead guard at best, and I vouched for him, and I was wrong for that. So if they had, it's way different.
If they had a facilitator, and it doesn't have to be the point guard, but I'll use old school kind of philosophy. If they had a point guard who was a facilitator like Chris Paul was, and a legit kind of center like, you know, even Ayton, who I don't think is that great, but who could at least take some of the attention away, you would see Booker and KD actually, I think, both look even better, because that would be a more balanced roster. And I think people, I'm not saying you, but I think people forget you need to have a balanced roster to succeed. I'm going to go through these quick. Stay on if you want to come back, because if we have more time, I'll bring you back. But next up is Mike.
What up?
Yo, Chill, I just wanted to ask, I heard you say you think Steven Adams could take Jaren Jackson out of the series. How you think he can stop Jaren Jackson?
Well, just with his physicality, that's number one. Number two, keeping Jaren Jackson off the glass and eliminating second chance opportunities for him. And just him being physical with Jaren Jackson, I think he could take him out of the series.
So, but do you think he can guard Jaren Jackson?
Yeah, I saw him do it when they played Houston the last time they played him. He completely had him boxed up. I think he had 7 points and 5 rebounds, something like that. Completely had him boxed up.
All right. I don't know. We'll come back. We'll come right back to you, Mike. Because we got a lot of people holding, and we're already at time. Yo,
what up? Peace, and blessings. What's good, Fluent? What's good, Chill?
What up? Hey, any chance you're going to the Heat game on the 12th?
Versus who?
The Clippers.
The Buffalo Braves.
Dude, oh my God! Never the Slippers. Never seen the Slippers of the Clippers. Never seen
me and Jay are going to be there. Me and Jay are going to be there. You're going to miss out.
Oh man, that'd be nice. Yeah. I mean, no, I would never go to a Clipper game.
I saw you just at a game there with your wife. She was heckling some people, so I thought that was
the Knick fan base.
To a game with. I like it.
The Knick fan base, I can't stand them. Oh my God, the Knick fan base gets me upset, man. But listen, you got to stop being so harsh on the GOAT over there, Fluent. I mean, you over here complaining. When has he been a part of the media? Because he does a podcast.
I'm not harsh on Jordan.
Not harsh on Jordan. That's what you're gonna go there.
I said GOAT.
But the GOAT is LeBron James. We just seen him got Player of the Month, another great award.
Player of the Month. Let's go.
Balling. The oldest to get it in NBA history. The most NBA awards in NBA history goes to the GOAT, LeBron James. Sure. But again, he's not a part of the media. His little media company is not a part of the media. Yeah, it's little. What do they do? He has a show on Max for his barbershop show. What else does he do? What do they do? How do they cover the NBA? Do they cover the NBA
or whatever? Yes, they 100%. They're all over. But here, I'll send you some links. They're huge. I don't think you know how many things they own. You should know better about your king.
No, I know it's a media company, but I don't think they cover the league. Where do they cover the league? Where do they cover the league at?
Uninterrupted. It's huge.
Uninterrupted is on what? It's on HBO, right?
And in Canada too, it's huge. They got a Canadian version. They got a Europe. I believe they have a European version. I got to double check on that one. But yeah, they're big. They cover the league for sure. They got Nick Wright, Shannon Sharp. They got tons.
Nick Wright, Shannon Sharp don't work for them.
100%. He's paid by Clutch. 100%.
Again, Clutch Sports is not an entertainment. Don't come with Justy Jeffrey lies. Clutch Sports and his entertainment group are two separate things. His entertainment group is called Spring Hill Entertainment. Has nothing to do with Clutch Sports.
Spring Hill Entertainment.
Okay, so don't. Clutch Sports is a sports agency who deals with sports athletes. That's a different subject.
And who runs it?
Isn't it Maverick Carter or which one is it? Rich Paul? Is it Rich Paul? Which one is that?
And who are they?
They are LeBron James' longtime friends.
And who funded them?
They fund themselves.
They didn't. Where did they get their money from?
What do you mean where they get their money from? From building networking and building throughout their years. What you mean?
And where did the money start?
From Maverick Carter. He was already a part of an agency. Wasn't he a part of an agency prior to that? Wasn't he already earning his money? Got a degree in this?
Yeah, it's the agency that represented Shams. You're absolutely right. And where did that start from? How did Maverick Carter get there?
How did Maverick Carter get there? Because he was a good, smart young man.
Okay, so we're just gonna lie. All right, what else?
No, it's not lie. You think LeBron James got this much power? Again, if he has this much power, he better be your GOAT.
He absolutely has this much power. And I don't rank active players in my all-time list, so he stays at number 2.
No, I understand.
We'll talk when he retires.
Yeah, okay, that's another story. But again, he doesn't control Stephen A. Smith, who is the head of the basketball media world.
He doesn't control Stephen A. Smith.
Just the other day, right, when they were talking about this, Brian Windhorst was just trying to eloquently explain how the league is just great, how it's phenomenal that the league
The league is phenomenal. You're right.
He said the league trademark should be greatness every night. And in the middle of that, Stephen A. Smith had to cut him off, shut him down, because at the end of
that's a bad one. I can come up with a better slogan in about 5 seconds, but okay.
I understand that, but I'm just saying, at the end of the day, the idea that once we start praising today's NBA, like you said, beyond LeBron James, you get the Zesty Jeffrey logic of the 1990s lies. So on top of that, it's lies, right? The idea that they didn't load manage when we know Akeem Olajuwon got suspended for faking an injury. When the 80s was filled with, we all know, drug addicts, and they had a problem back then, like you said, the reputation of the league was always a problem.
The drug addicts and load managing are not the same thing, though, Jay.
No. I'm just saying that the same way they get mad at Mike Peake and we are done with the 90s for finding the flaws of the 90s and the 1900s, it's the same thing that we're trying to say. You guys don't allow today's NBA to be praised. You guys don't allow today's NBA
who doesn't allow today's NBA to be praised? Who?
The Zesty Jeffrey. The Zesty Jeffries.
I don't think so.
Yes.
I think there is a small percentage of people who don't appreciate maybe today's NBA, and like I said, are tired of this person or this era can do no wrong. Like when people say, and you're one of them sometimes. Actually, you admitted in the chat. LeBron is perfect. He can do no wrong. This era is perfect. It's better in every way, shape, and form. Those are.
I didn't say this era was perfect, but LeBron is perfect. Continue.
Yeah. So those people that you would bring out the Zesty Jeffries, as you would call them, when you go to an absolute and say this person or this era is perfect and they can do no wrong and they're better in every way, shape, or form, you're going to get people say, well, that's not true. So instead of being logical and say here's why, like I do most of the time, they go to the far other side of it. It's kind of like your political parties. They used to be here. And then they started to go here, 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 here. And now they both say such outlandish stuff because the right is saying so far over here that the left has to go way over here to counter it. And that's what we've created because in reality, it's the middle. It's the middle. Is there more athletic and skilled players in the NBA today? 1,000%. 1,000%. Were they all plumbers in 1995? Absolutely not. They weren't. It's a middle ground. There was things that they did better. There's things that they don't do better. But
there's plenty of guys that played in the 90s that could play in today's game that would be awesome in today's game.
There's guys that, for example, there's guys in the 90s that played that wouldn't have been given, that weren't given the opportunity to do some of the things that if they were asked to do something different. I'll use my friend. He has a show on Sports Fluent, Paul McKeskey. Paul McKeskey was a great three-point shooter at a 7-footer. You think they let him do that? They were like, you could have one a game.
Bill Laimbeer is Kevin Love today. That's who Bill Laimbeer is.
There you go. So that's what
Mitch
I'm saying.
Richmond would have bust Anthony Edwards' ass today.
I don't think your boy Mr. Peter could shoot 38% from the three-point land, but continue.
Man, well, I know that Bill Laimbeer got criticized.
If given the opportunity and were trained all through as kids, that's
awesome as a
point
is. What I don't want to do, and Jay gets Jay. This is where Jay and I divide. Is I think he wants me to look at what's going on in today's game and appreciate what's going on in today's game and completely forget about what was going on 30 years ago.
Yeah. Actually, I want you guys to remember, do you know that right now we're close to about 10 years? It's about to be a decade since Kobe gave us 60 in his last game?
I think it's, I think we're yeah. It's been next
I'm
month.
glad I said that. Look, Fluent. Yes,
next
Fluent.
Month. Next month is 10 years. Next month. Year, a month and a year from next month is 10 years that you did that.
Yes. Again, I told Chilltown this. Shaq was the most dominant player in the NBA 25 years ago.
That's correct.
But check this out.
25 years ago.
Check this out. Check this out. I had this conversation the other day, which is why it's fresh. And then, yes, there's two more people. Yes, I'm going to get to you right away. I promise.
You can get to them, please.
But let me say this.
Yeah, yes.
Find me a player today that can cross over and go behind the back consistently if they're not allowed to touch the side or the bottom of the basketball.
No, I agree with you. I've always stated this. I agree to it. Yeah, no.
All of those decades, because for what they were, you have to appreciate what they were allowed to do. But again, I just finished saying the last 10, 15 years is the greatest era of basketball, in my opinion, ever.
Yeah.
So,
that's what Will said about Shaq.
You're allowed to love all of them.
Yeah, that's what Will said about Shaq. Shaq, he never got to do the things Shaq was able to do. And Shaq, if Shaq had to play in the 60s, he would not be able to do the things that Shaq did. So, again, it's about appreciating all eras. But since, like you said, it's a war, you guys got to accept it. The GOAT debate's going to continue till LeBron retires. And then we got to, listen, you got to pick a side. And you chose a side, Fluent.
I don't think you
Chill's
do.
chosen a side.
Me and Jay, when I say Jay, because I know. I have Jordan. He has LeBron, but we both agree if you have Jordan, LeBron, Kareem, or can make a valid case for somebody else, it's fair because there's logical sense by it. Now, if you say, I don't know, let me say a guy I love. If you say Elgin Baylor is the GOAT, I'd be like, I got
Steph Curry. Or Steph Curry's the GOAT. Steph Curry's the GOAT.
Yeah, Steph Curry, Bob Pettit, something like that. I'd be like, I don't know that you can make that case. But there's 3-4 guys where here's the thing for me. I say this. There's actually only 5 guys that can even be in the GOAT debate. And it's Magic, Jordan. Hold on, let me tell you why. Magic, Jordan, LeBron, Duncan, Kareem. And why is that? Because in my opinion, those are the 5 best at their position. And if you're not the best at your position, you can't be the best of all time. You can't. So your 5 might be different, but there's only ever a max of 5, because if you're not the greatest power forward of all time, you can't be the greatest player. That's impossible. Impossible.
No, I understand that. I understand that.
Only 5. Now, you might have...
Chill and I got the same 5, but you got to take out Duncan and Magic, and you got to add Russell and Wilt.
You have to.
Hold on. Who's the greatest center of all time?
Jabbar.
Wilt.
Then so
Wilt
for
Chamberlain. For me, it's Wilt Chamberlain. Yeah,
okay.
Wilt Chamberlain. For you, by far.
So Jabbar can't. So then Jabbar can't be in the conversation for you, because if he's not the best center, he can't be the best all time.
No, because I don't go by position, because his position is more stacked. Those 3 guys are better than the best power forward of all time.
No. Let's be. I'm not saying they're the top. Let's be clear.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
No, that's true. Center's by far the toughest.
No, I'm just saying those 3 guys in general are better than Tim Duncan. Those 3 guys are better than Duncan.
Yeah, I agree. But what I'm saying, I'm not saying those are the top 5 players. I'm saying not only those 5 players can be the GOAT for you, because if you have Wilt as the best center of all time, no other center can be the greatest player of all time, because they're not even the greatest at their position. So they're eliminated. Do you understand?
No, I can't do that. No, I can't. I understand what you're saying, but I can't do that.
You can have Wilt. It's actually more logical than you know. You can have Wilt, Kareem, and Russell as your 1, 2, 3 greatest of all time, but you can't.
I put Russell at my 4. That's the whole point. I'm putting Russell at my 4.
Then you're putting him out of position. That's fine.
No, actually, he'd be dominant there as well. Yeah. Because he's Bill Russell. So, again, I like you guys. I don't want to dominate today's show. I'm about to get ready to watch 50,000 being scored, sir. 50,000. So enjoy your evening. It's always a blessing, man. You guys keep doing what you're doing, man. Peace and blessings, man.
Later.
Have you ever heard anyone combine regular season and playoffs?
Today,
until now.
Mm-hmm. What up?
Another Jay. Everybody, I'm surrounded by Jays. What up, Jay?
Mm-hmm.
Hello, can y'all hear me?
What up?
We can hear you.
Well, not no more. You're muted now. We heard you a second ago, but then you just got
you're mute.
Am I unmuted now?
Now you're good. Yeah, now you're good.
Okay.
Nope.
Jay,
we had him and then we didn't. Yeah. We had him and then we didn't. Yep.
Well, that's a anticlimactic end.
We had him and then we didn't.
Oh man. What are we doing next week? You got plans? Like, what are you're gonna like?
What's going on next week? I'm just working doing the show.
No, that's not. I said, where are you taking me out? I said.
You talking? Yeah, I gotta figure some stuff out. I gotta figure out. All right, where because you're gonna be in the Fort Lauderdale area. It's a spot like around that, like where the airport is. They got a like an entertainment space where it's really nice, and maybe we could do that. Something for the kids. I gotta go do some homework, but yeah, I'll find something. Mm-hmm.
All right, Jay jumped on and said he's good now, so you got one more chance.
What up?
All right, can y'all hear me?
All right.
Yep, you hot. You hot.
Perfect. There we go. Do you guys think it just comes with the territory with LeBron that just like you're just that talented of a player, you're gonna get hated? I mean, we see this in other sports, right? I mean, TB12 gets hated a lot, right, for who he is as a player. Like, do you think this just comes with the territory, guys, at this point?
I don't hear anybody hating Tom Brady. Tom Brady is the GOAT, and that's really all it is.
I hate Tom Brady.
Of course you hate Tom, but you don't hate him nearly as much as you hate Aaron Rodgers. So don't do that, Tom.
That's true.
Why you hate him, Fluent?
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers is Brady.
So much.
Yeah, he's a Bear fan. That's why he hates Aaron Rodgers.
That's why I hate him.
He'll deny greatness. He's going to deny greatness.
To answer your question, it does come with territory. Yes, it does.
It does. Listen, you're in today's world. Like, guys, you might hate it, but when we were younger, we celebrated great players. Regardless, like we would say, like, man, I hate, as a Bears fan, man, I hate that Bart Starr, but man, is he good? Right. And now it's just like, man, I hate that Bart Starr. Like you don't, there's no need for the positive anymore. That's just something that has changed. Like, let's be okay. I know I used this analogy earlier, but just think about it. Every single one of you and me, we're dancing to Drake for 15 straight summers. And now we all hate him. And now he's a pedophile and he's looking for an A minor, right? Like, what? Seriously? Now we all hate him? It's just, it's sad, but this is where we are as a people. It's where we are.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate to see these kinds of things happen, especially with LeBron, because we go back, other superstars did not get this kind of heat that James is getting.
You're right.
It's unfortunate.
He's in an era where it sucks. It's unfortunate because they're, I always say they're going to miss him when he's gone, but I don't know, is he ever going to go away?
He has to at some point. Like, he can't stay around forever. No.
I'm standing on this. I think this guy's going to play till he's 45.
No,
until he's
they're gonna run him out of the league at some point. There's no way that they're gonna let him be around for another 5 years. Now they're gonna at some point run him out of the league.
Why would they?
Because the league is.
Why would the NBA do that? They.
Why would you hold on to something that you know is going to end and not have a contingency plan?
Because they haven't found a replacement yet. They literally don't have a replacement.
Jay, we're 22 years in, Jay. What are you talking about?
Okay, I get it. And they can't figure out. It's not that. That's not the issue. The issue is that they don't.
How long are we gonna hold
They don't want to move on from him. Chill. They don't want to move on. They don't want to. They don't want to.
Okay. So to your point, we don't want to move on from him, right? We don't. So we're going to hold on to him until we can't hold on to him anymore. And when we lose him, the league is going to fall apart.
I don't know what they're going to do, Chill. I mean,
what are you talking about? You don't know what they're going to do.
I mean, Chill. Okay, listen. If they've got plenty of players in this game.
Get out of here with this.
Chill. They have plenty of players in the league.
22 years, Jay.
They've got plenty of players to put as the.
22 years.
Yes, I understand.
22 years, Jay.
I get that, but
they still haven't moved on over 2 decades, and you want to add 5 more years to that. What are we doing, Jay?
Well, Chill. Okay. That's fine. What's the okay? Who's the next face of the league then? Who's the next? Who's the next?
We won't know until we get James out.
Right, he needs to step away.
I'll tell you what. They don't want any. It's not any foreigner. They don't want any foreigners to be the face of the league. They don't want to do it with Jason Tatum.
Jay,
they don't want to do it with JT.
Jay, do you understand that we're not going to have anybody until he's gone? Do you understand that?
Put it this way. Let me.
Do you understand that part? Does that part make any sense?
I'm ready to see LeBron go, man.
There you go. There it is, right there.
I'm not ready to see this guy leave, man.
So,
I ain't ready to see this man go, bro. I'm not. This is ridiculous. Just play forever.
If you had a choice, Jay, between LeBron James leaving and Jason Tatum being the face of the league, which one do you want?
Oh my God.
You got a face of the league right now, but you don't want to see him.
Here's the
Tatum.
problem.
I'll say Tatum. I got to roll my boys, Tatum. But chill, like they don't want to put him though. Like I don't understand it. Tatum plays to the level of his contemporaries, but he doesn't get to be the face of the league. I don't understand it. They don't want a foreigner. They don't want Giannis. They don't want Jokic. They don't want Shea. I'm like, okay, if you want an American-born player, there's Tatum right there. He's a champion. Why can't he be the face of the league? Why?
Jay, you're right, but we're 20 minutes over time, so I'm going to have to say goodnight because there's one other person waiting, and I have to say this to Jay now you guys stopped yelling. This is very much they want to move on with their new girl, but they keep driving by the ex's house.
She keeps opening the door, Tone. She won't tell him. In fact, she's the one who keeps coming by. It's not them driving by the house. She's the one who keeps coming by, and they keep opening the door. Going, come on in.
Yeah.
Come on in.
Dog. You guys missed the biggest tank failure ever. The Raptors were up 6 on the Magic. Took out quickly. Took out Barnes. Took out Scotty Barnes. Took out Jakob Poeltl. Took off RJ Barrett. Up 6 against the Magic against Paolo and Franz. They lost. Paolo and Franz could not do it. They were up against two-way players. They could not do it. Down 6. Raptors were up 6. 2 minutes to go. Paolo and Franz could not get the job done. Barnes was benched with 2 minutes to go. RJ Barrett was benched 2 minutes to go. IQ was benched 2 minutes to go. Jakob Poeltl was benched 2 minutes to go. Jacoby Walter hit a game winner. Raptors were up 6. 2 minutes left.
But the Raptors won.
That's his point.
That's what I mean. That's my point. The Magic could not get it done with their two.
Toronto was actually trying to lose. They took their whole crew out, and they still won.
But that's Toronto. They try to lose, they win. They're playing a team that should lose 40 in a row. They lose. That's Toronto. That's what they do.
God, unbelievable.
Anyway, Scotty Barnes is going to be the new face of the league, by the way. Stop disrespecting. Good night.
Goodbye. See you later, brother.
Scotty Barnes. Yeah, you're gonna all go to Bowlway for a Scotty Barnes bowl sub. Oh jeez. Oh, I can't. Oh.
All my fellas. All my fellas.
Y'all know what time it is. It's about that time for us to say goodnight. It was good to see you guys tonight. We love you. Thanks for stopping by. We will see you guys soon. Until then, put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother. When's the last time you talked to your mother? I just talked to my mother a couple of days ago. When's the last time you talked to your mother? Call your mother. We'll talk to you guys soon. But until then, take it light, but take it. Absolutely, man. You know where to find us at.
Happy birthday, Fluent Jr. and Little Miss Fluent. I'll see you next week in sunny Florida.
It was 75 degrees today, Tone, by the way.
Trust me, I've been.
Oh, Canada. Put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother.
It means nothing. It means nothing.
Nah, they lying to you. It's about the money.
Now you're more fluent.